Hello, welcome to your second dose of 50/50 booking. This, however, is not High Spots, so this is the normal 50/50 booking where we talk just about WWE and only WWE. If you want all the other promotions, that's what High Spots is for.
Is that for just AEW?
No, it's about all the other promotions.
Right, so New Japan.
All of them. Even the ones you probably aren't aware of. So, but we did touch upon WWE a bit in that thing because we was explaining a few things to anyone who wasn't familiar with stuff. So it was easy. Sometimes it's easy to relate to people through WWE, which is one of the reasons why WWE has its own thing because more people are aware of it. It's also what you watch. So it makes sense to do this review.
part of me does want to watch AEW just for Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho, but at the same time, I've always watched WWE. I've never watched anything else except maybe like a rogue episode of Impact back when Jeff Hardy was there because I was staying at my nan's and I didn't even realize Jeff Hardy was still wrestling, so I didn't even know Impact was a thing back then.
See. It's one of those things we may eventually get to at some point, but it is what it is. But obviously, we should probably introduce everyone to people who don't know who we are. Obviously, people know who I am because I pretty much get all these shows that's on this feed. You, however, maybe not everyone's familiar with, especially if I just watched High Spots, because obviously my guest for that one is Ant, who's not you. You are Aaron, so anyone who's familiar with Sorting Stuff would know who you are. But this is Aaron. Aaron is also Caring with Colours, where he is currently doing things for many charities, but this month I always get that confused, so please do it for me.
This month I'm raising money for the LGBT Foundation, and I'm doing a 28-day Rainbow Forfeit Challenge. And, well, if you've watched the Sorting Stuff podcast, you know what that entails, but if not, each colour of the rainbow, the 6 main colours of the rainbow, all have a forfeit marked to them. So when anybody says said forfeit in context without volition, then I have to do the forfeit that matches up. And it's been going on now since the first day of February.
So, and Nina has very tired arms.
Yeah, very, very tired arms. I'm sick of the colour blue.
Yeah, and for those of you who can hear the doggo, get used to it. People have dogs; it's a thing.
He's not mine.
Sorry. No, he's Dave Meltzer.
Mine's well trained.
So not Dave Meltzer.
No, mine's more Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
I was more of a hell no kind of guy.
Fair enough. Cool.
But I can always hug it out and decide about that later.
True. But obviously, you guys are aware that obviously we're here doing WWE. But what I'm going to start with Aaron, because I think it's a good thing to start off with anyone, is where did your wrestling fandom start? When did you become a fan?
When I first watched The Undertaker perform.
Do you remember when that was by any chance?
I was at my auntie's house. It must have been pre-2009, maybe 2006, maybe 2005. That kind of time. I think I was around 9 years old, and I spent the night at my auntie's house, and they put wrestling on the telly, and I think it was Undertaker and Booker T on Friday Night SmackDown or something.
Yeah, that would work for that time period.
I was just enthralled by the wrestling, but my mum wouldn't let me watch it until about 9-10 years ago, maybe. And I got my first laptop, and I was bored sitting there, and I saw a ad click here to watch WWE, and I was just like, wait, this is my laptop. I don't have to ask permission to watch what I want to watch. Yeet. And started watching from there and haven't stopped.
And that's Aaron's decision-making process on how he decides what porn to watch too.
No, I've got my partner for that.
Right. Obviously, for the viewers, I'm going to explain that was a joke. Aaron's going out with my niece. That would be weird. Right. But
As
yeah,
to the list of links that she sends, I'm not gonna.
I no.
No.
Well, to be fair, knowing her, she'll probably just send you links to hairdressing stuff she wants you to buy her and shit.
Actually, the latest thing has been wool, mostly wool and
Oh, that's it. Right,
yeah,
there's the
more
crochet
wool.
stuff, yes.
Yeah, and tobacco. So
Cool. But okay, so that's when your wrestling fandom started. So okay, so it's quite a
we're
few
looking
people
around WrestleMania 2021.
That
That
sounds
kind of time.
that sounds about right from what you're saying. So, but yeah, it's fairly similar because most people, their parents are like, "Oh, don't want you watching that." So you normally either sneak off to watch it, or when you get to a point where you're old enough and you're like, "I can do it now because I don't need permission."
I made a friend in secondary school just so I could go around his house and watch wrestling. He was my only friend, and then he moved to Sunderland, and I was heartbroken because I couldn't watch wrestling anymore. Which led me to buying a laptop, which led me to watching WWE whenever I got the chance when my mum wasn't home.
Yeah,
So
you heard it here first, people. If you need to watch wrestling, find a friend who has it.
or likes wrestling too.
Yeah, it does help. So, but cool, right. Obviously, we've got various things we're going to go into, but I think probably the most important thing we'll go into now, obviously being WWE, tonight or tomorrow morning for us Brits here in the UK, it's the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view.
Yep.
Obviously, for the Americans, it's on the Sunday, but time differences.
Oh
Right.
yeah. We love
As
the time
of,
differences.
that's it. Exactly. As of now, there are 5 matches. WWE have a highly bad habit of adding matches last minute, and I don't know if there's a pre-show match. There probably will be, because there usually is.
Well, I know from Friday they've got the tag team championships on the line.
Yes,
Thanks to Reginald in a 6-man tag team match. What's happening with that guy? I do not understand.
We'll get on to that because that ties into one of the subjects we're going to talk about. But yeah, what I have here, I'll say what I have here, and you can tell me what you know about this. We have the Elimination Chamber, which is for the WWE Championship, which is the one with Drew McIntyre, AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Kofi Kingston.
I've heard a rumor that there may or may not be an extra entrant that isn't even scheduled to be in it.
Ali?
And that will tie into Randy Orton's storyline, as you can imagine, after what happened in the Gauntlet match on Monday.
Oh, okay. So, because I've heard 2 things about possible replacements. I've heard that Ali might replace Kofi because Retribution might take him out. And it circles back on the fact that Ali was injured, and that's how Kofi got the Kofi Mania thing happen.
Yeah, so it's turnabout fair play in a kind of way.
Yeah, it's something I've heard. Whether it's true or not, no idea, but it's something I've come across and people have told me to. The other thing would be, obviously, you mentioned about Randy Orton, is some appearance by either Alexa Bliss or The Fiend.
I've got something in mind that I'd really like to happen, and like this is probably not going to happen because of like how far-fetched it is, but I got a feeling.
Go for it.
What I'd like to happen for the Alexa's like a music thing where she's like the lights dim and stuff. While everybody's in the pod halfway through the match, Randy Orton's still in his pod, and the Fiend's music to hit, the lights go out, and Orton's pod is the only one lit up. The light turns red, fills with smoke, and then when the smoke clears, the Fiend's standing in Orton's pod. And then him just to come in and do his thing.
And we could all go, wow, Randy, you've changed.
That would be like an ideal thing. That would be an ideal thing for me because like I'm a big Fiend fan and Bray Wyatt fan, so I'd love for something like that to happen because like it's something that they can use to their advantage because obviously they're recording. They could like record like a separate section of Andy and just play it for a loop when the Fiend's actually in the pod and stuff like that because of the
advantage of having no crowds at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense. I had an idea, possibly not so much for Elimination Chamber, but this is more to do with what they could do at WrestleMania, because apparently they might end up facing each other, Randy and Bray. I personally, and this is my personal take on this, I would have Randy take on Alexa.
I mean,
right? But the reason being is, you mentioned it yourself, there's no live crowds. And even if there is one for WrestleMania, you can screw around with stuff because you can have something similar to the Firefly Funhouse match.
Yeah. I mean, that touches onto what's been rumoring around John Cena for a long time. Him coming back for one final run as a heel, and forming a kind of New World Order kind of team of sorts. And if Randy was to get a part of that, and then the Fiend tied Orton and Cena together to work as heels together, I could see that happening. But then you think, would they need a third member or something like that? And possibly, I don't know.
Well, I was going to say, the thing with that, obviously, you guys can probably hear that in the background. Don't worry, doggies do what doggies do. Right.
I'm trying to see what he's doing. He's trying to get something out of his cage, I believe.
Wouldn't be surprising. So
he's in his own little elimination chamber over
there. Yeah. Can you imagine the doors open like every so often, just let random things into his little doggy cage?
It'd be random toys, and I'd end up throwing them at him. He's got a sheep that I'm tempted to confiscate, because if he starts on that, then we'll all be in trouble. Won't be able to hear a thing.
Well, that would tie in quite nicely to Bray Wyatt, considering the Wyatt family used to wear sheep masks.
Oh yeah, it's on the floor, but it sounds like a pig when you squeak it. So there's that too. What do you want? Oh,
probably attention.
Come on in. Come on. You're not a puppy anymore.
Yeah, doggo, come on if you want. Nobody minds.
There you go.
The internet likes doggos. You're absolutely fine, mate.
As long as you don't chew my headphone cable, get off.
Yeah, definitely don't chew it. It's also not good. That's not good for you, amongst other things.
Now he's chewing me.
Healthier for him, but not for you.
So it's just like, love this internet. Hello. Do you mind? Excuse me, that's my phone. Ah! If I spill my Coke, we'll both be in trouble.
Yeah, and you might smell of Coke, which is probably not good at it. Although I'm guessing that's Pepsi from looking at it.
Just pulled my headphones out my ears. Yeah, it's a Pepsi Max.
Yeah.
I'm going on the sugar-free stuff because I've already had a energy drink today.
Well, you've got a bit of a long day, haven't you? Because you're going to stay up to watch the pay-per-view, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I always do. So
cool.
One of the things I like to do.
As we go through these matches, by the way, I'm going to ask you to give me a prediction as to who you think will win.
Okay.
Okay. So with the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match, we've gone through the participants. Do you have a pick?
I think it's too close to call, but I think Drew retains. But with Sheamus having the last entry in the elimination match, I'm pretty sure I'd like to see Sheamus win and then have the rematch at WrestleMania. But I think because Drew's Vince's boy, isn't he? I think he's going to walk out the chamber still champion. And then obviously the storyline's going to continue to WrestleMania. Drew versus Sheamus.
Well, you do have Fastlane in between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania, so there's still another pay-per-view before then.
Yeah, so I'm gonna pick Sheamus, not because I want him to win, because I don't mind who wins that chamber match, to be honest. But I'd be happy for Drew to walk out still champion.
Okay, I mean, the point of these is just for you to give us who you think will win. I mean, nobody's going to hold you to this or anything. This is just for fun. It's not like there's like any stakes on it. Although in future ones there might be, because we might have a bit of fun with it and come up with some stuff. But these are just for fun, so just to get your opinions.
Yeah.
Obviously, the second match I have here is for the United States title, and currently it's listed as a triple threat match. But I've heard this may not end up being a triple threat match, and that is Bobby Lashley versus Keith Lee versus Riddle. The reason I mention it may not end up being a triple threat match is that Keith Lee is apparently injured.
Oh, you little. I'm not sure when it comes to that match. Just sorry, Bruce has just taken a tube of Bonjela.
No worries, you probably should stop that. Yeah. So,
Right.
Yeah, the fun of live internet people. You can't always help what goes on, and you should not let doggos have things like Bonjela. It's bad for them. So, he has to deal with it. It's fine. New people will grow up. If you've got pets, you probably understand this. So, nothing to worry about. So, yes, he clearly doesn't have a mouth ulcer. So, why is he trying to use Bonjela?
I don't know. It's not even mine. It's my mum's. So
fair enough.
You end up with stomach ulcers if he has that.
That's fair enough. Yeah, we were on the triple threat. Obviously, you're not sure as to what you think will happen. This is why I mentioned about the Keith Lee injury thing, because there's a chance it may not be a triple threat match. So
yeah, I mean, it would be a shame because I was really hoping. For Keith Lee to win that match. But on the role that Bobby Lashley's on, I can't see anybody stopping him. So I think Bobby Lashley retains.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people
unless Riddle pulls a stunt and gets a surprise roll up out of nowhere.
Well, you never know. The thing about the Keith Lee is that's the reason he missed Raw. Apparently, he was injured, so it just depends on whether he recovers in time.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that one. But so Bobby Lashley for the triple threat, yeah?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I can understand that one. Right. The Universal Elimination Chamber #1 contender match. Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens versus King Corbin versus Sami Zayn versus Cesaro versus Daniel Bryan. Good luck.
I mean, I'm hoping they put this first on the card. So that way, whoever wins the match does get a breather until the main event when he has to face Roman Reigns. Because that will make sense.
I say there's two schools of thought here for that, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. Sentimental favourite would probably be Daniel Bryan.
I think that's an obvious one for most people. We'd be like, well, yeah.
Part of me really wants Cesaro to pull through.
You mean you don't want Corbin?
I mean, I like Corbin. I like his character. I liked his little segment on SmackDown with Edge, where he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm wearing a $10,000 suit. I've got a $38,000 timepiece." And Edge pulls out his phone. He goes, "Do you want to see my timepiece? Look, tells the time. It's got the date on it." I was just like, "Wow, that's so Edge."
Well, you think you know him, but you can never know him.
Yes.
Deep dive, people. Check the network. You might get the reference. Right.
I mean, him on commentary this week was actually really funny as well. When he called Paul Heyman a concubus or something. This is quite funny.
You may want to say that very clearly because it sounded like you said something else then.
I can't remember what he called him. I remember him calling.
I'm guessing Carmunculus.
No, it was
because you made it sound like the the woman part thing.
No. It wasn't.
Yeah, I know it wasn't because it's WWE, but
Yeah, it was kind of like calling him a professional parasite. And I was just like,
Fair enough.
okay.
I get it at least.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand it. But as far as the champion match goes, I think that
Before you
Owens is
hang on.
just going to be put through it.
Before you answer who wins, would it affect you? Would your pick be affected by whether the title match happens straight after the chamber match, or if it happens later on in the pay-per-view?
No, because I think I think if the championship match was to happen a little bit later on in the pay-per-view after the chamber match, I think fighting chance wise, if you're looking at Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, or even even Kevin Owens, give them half an hour to rest, and they'll be back on like fresh level. So I think if either of those three were to win, they still give Roman Reigns a fight and a half an hour later. But if the chamber match happens and then the championship match happens straight afterwards, then I don't think any of them have got a really fighting hope of taking the title from Roman later on.
Fair enough. Because the thing is, there's a precedent in Elimination Chamber history where someone wins the chamber match and literally straight away there's a title match.
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of. It's happened at least twice I can think of. Edge beat Cena for the world title for the first Money in the Bank cash-in, and then Batista also beat Cena after a chamber match as well to become champion.
Yeah.
So it's the reason I mentioned it, because I think it could be something they may look at, particularly if they're trying to make Roman look really strong or make him look like the smarmy, superior, I can beat you because you're not as good as me.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree.
Because that would be a way to make that work if you want to have it immediately, because you can have Roman squash them. And then it doesn't matter who it is in that point, because then you're just trying to make Roman look like a badass and like I don't give a crap who it is, I'll just beat you. And doing it immediately makes him even more of a douchey heel because he's not giving him time to recover.
I mean, yeah, but then part of me is thinking, what if WWE were to do something like Jey Uso wins, and then he says, I relinquish my championship contendership to my brother, and then his twin brother makes his return.
Well, his brother is actually cleared to wrestle, from what I understand.
Yeah,
he just hasn't appeared on TV yet.
Yeah, that's what I've heard too. So if something like that was to happen, I could see that happening, and then Jey would be fresh as well. Jimmy would be fresh as well, because Jey would have competed in the chamber.
Well, another twist you could possibly do that would be do the old DX thing, where Michaels and Hunter had to face each other for the title. And basically, one laid down for the other. So Jey could literally just like make out he's going to fight Roman, and then just lay down, let Roman pin him.
Yeah,
because that is a very WWE thing to do. Not being funny, it really is.
Yeah, I mean, there'd be people in uproar about it, and they say, "Oh my god, I hate it so much," but it's a WWE thing.
It also gets people talking.
Yeah,
which Vince likes that stuff. I prefer your way. I think your way works better. Even if Jimmy loses, it makes no difference because it will still make Jimmy look good. And
it would also get Jimmy into the storyline, because after he loses to Roman, which he no doubt probably will, he'd have to acknowledge him as the Universal Champion, and then he'd have both Usos in the bloodline.
That depends on whether the WWE, and this is a big if for WWE, whether they stick to the storyline thing, because the only reason Jey does so is Jey lost a match where he basically, by consequence, had to admit to him being like the tribal chief or whatever it is. You
Yeah.
could always have that match at Fastlane and have that as a stipulation. So Jimmy
Yeah.
would have to do it.
Yeah.
So that's a way you could possibly do that. So you could have a match at the Chamber and possibly have Roman win, and then it could be a really close match like it was with Jay, and Roman turns around and says, like your brother, you get one more chance, but if I beat you, you hail me as your chief, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it happening. I could see it happening either way. But then it's down to WWE Creative, and WWE Creative is.
Oh, don't worry, that's a subject we're going to get to after we go through the Chamber stuff. So
Yeah.
it's on our list. So. But,
did you hear the reference to the list on SmackDown? There was a reference to Chris Jericho made by Daniel Bryan, and I was a bit like, oh, I thought Chris Jericho was a do not mention on live show, but there Daniel Bryan mentioned Chris's list. I don't imagine Vince was too happy about that.
I think Daniel Bryan does what he wants, in all honesty. I don't think he really cares that much.
Well, I mean, it is his last run, but that's what he's called it anyway.
It's his last full-time run, so I think Daniel was in a position where he gives no Fs.
You can't really blame him with what WWE have put him through in the past number of years, from becoming a rookie on NXT with a 10 to 15 year career behind him, and then putting up with the Miz as well,
and Michael Cole.
Oh yeah, Michael Cole. Can't forget Michael Cole.
I wish I could, but I can't.
I just hope that when Daniel does retire and he goes into the creative team, he makes a huge impact and the matches get spontaneously better. But I can't see it happening because, again, with WWE, you have to work your way up into how storylines and stuff goes, especially with creative. I mean, Meltzer's there obviously, but
it kind of depends because some people get put in certain positions. It depends on your connection sometimes with the talent.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at
or your connection, or how well you click with Vince.
Yeah, like TJ Neidhart,
Wilson,
Natalia's husband. Yeah, TJ Wilson. He's on the creative line, and he's wrote some really good matches.
For those who don't know, that's Tyson Kidd.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's a match agent, as they call it nowadays. Him and Michael Hayes, who are two of WWE's bigger ones, because Michael Hayes used to do most of the Undertaker matches.
Yeah, you can always tell with a Michael Hayes match. It just had that little kind of stamp to it where you'd always get like a certain moment in the match, and you're just like, yeah, that's Tyson's work. That is.
Yeah. The thing is, though, when it comes to WWE agents, WWE lost two of their best ones, and they both now work for AEW, which is Arn Anderson and Dean Malenko. And boy, was that a bad decision by WWE.
I mean, you probably can't count the amount of bad decisions that WWE have made on one hand. I mean, they let Mauro Ranallo go because his contract expired as well.
There's a bunch of stuff in that, but when we get, again, a lot of the stuff we'll also talk about when it comes to we talk about WWE Creative because there's a lot that goes into that. By the way, did you give me a chamber match winner for that, the Universal #1 contender match? I don't remember. Before we get sidetracked too much.
Person I want to win would be Cesaro. Person I reckon will win is Daniel Bryan because sentimentality favourite. And then Roman will just destroy him, and then we'll have a match at Fastlane, and then another match at WrestleMania just because.
Okay.
Well, I do like my kind of idea with the twin sort of thing because I know that Jimmy is able to compete now. So
the thing about WrestleMania though is you still got Edge.
Yeah, I can see Edge going either way. I mean, the way it's chalking up, Edge is probably going to face Roman, especially after what happened on SmackDown. It's like Edge doesn't take too kindly to being speared.
Yeah, apparently though, Bruce is a fan of Roman Reigns because he likes the big dog.
Yeah, he's driving me barking mad.
So,
Bruce, you're barking at a box. Stop it.
Yeah, so definitely a Roman Reigns fan there. Okay, right. So I'm assuming that pretty much means, because the next match I've listed here is Roman Reigns versus the winner of the Chamber match. So I'm pretty much assuming you're picking Roman.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't think. The only way I can see him losing is a surprise roll up. Him losing is a surprise roll up.
Or a surprise Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, I think even still, then I don't see.
He's not going to be there, but that'd be hilarious.
Oh my god, I'd laugh my ass off, and I'd like to see the look on Paul Heyman's face if Brock Lesnar's music was to hit, and then all of a sudden, like, I could just see the shock on his face. But then I could imagine it turn into a smile and him just smiling at Roman as if to say, "You trusted me, you let me in. Now look at this bulldozer that I still work for."
Okay, here's the other option, right? You have him in that match. Roman wins that match, but watching on from one of the Thunderdome screens is Lesnar.
Yeah.
But they don't make a big deal out of it, which would be hard for WWE because I love making a big deal about fucking everything.
Oh yeah.
And then you have Lesnar, like, just a sly little attention that Lesnar's watching on the Thunderdome screen. And then the camera just does it momentarily and just goes away, which is subtle storytelling, which WWE don't fucking do.
I mean, another thing that could happen is Randy Orton win the Raw Championship match, and then all the screens in the Thunderdome turn to a picture of, like, a hand coming out of, like, ashes.
I see. And that's when we get Edge fight Orton, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you were making allusions to. It's The Undertaker. He's coming out of retirement.
No, I was talking about The Fiend, because he was set
I
on
know.
Oh my god.
But it's just Orton has history of all of them. That's the joke.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, there was something about Randy Orton being the reason why Drew was sent back to NXT in the first place and taken off the main roster. It's like 9 years ago.
Well,
I don't know whether or not any of that was true, but
Randy Orton is a douchebag, so that's all I'm saying.
Yes, he is.
Okay. The last of the Elimination Chamber matches, of course, is not Bruce being stuck in the cage being beaten by Aaron. That's not happening because the RSPCA would not enjoy that. It's actually the Women's Tag Team Championship match, which Aaron alluded to earlier. We have Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Right. This is the WWE creative thing, and very much in this match, and I am going to rip the crap out of this after Aaron gives me his predictions as to which team's winning.
Yeah, Baszler and Jax.
Right. You think that they're winning, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Okay. I'm going to shift from this seamlessly into our WWE creative talk because it's a very good way to start with it. Okay.
You missed a match.
I think
there's another match happening at Chamber.
That's not what I have listed here.
Lacey Evans versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship.
It's not happening.
Why?
Lacey's pregnant.
I thought that was a joke.
She's really pregnant.
It by her husband, I fucking hope.
Woo! Me too.
Yeah.
Right. As far as I know, that match isn't happening.
Good.
Okay. So it's also not on the official list that I checked on, which is when I checked. So there you go. I think Sasha and Bianca Belair are winning the tag match, and the reason being WWE creative sucks. The reason being is those two are going to fight each other at WrestleMania. They're going to have them be tag champions beforehand, and then they're going to have them get along at first, and then they're going to break up, feud over the belts, possibly be champions when it's still WrestleMania, because WWE Creative isn't fucking original.
I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I think possibly like I reckon Baszler and
My whole
Jax, yeah, exactly her whole do retain purely because or on the flip side, I think if Sasha and Bianca win the championships, I think they carry on as a team, and then Bianca challenges Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship, and we've got Golden Role Models Part 2 because creative sucks that bad.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that happening.
Yeah, it does suck that bad.
It's like because Sasha's got the SmackDown Women's Championship, obviously, and with Bianca's title match at WrestleMania, she can choose SmackDown or she can choose Raw. So I think that she'd choose Raw. We have the Golden Role Models Part 2, but then one of them lose the belt, and then they break up as a tag team, and then the tag titles become vacated.
Oh yeah, that's what those titles really need, don't they? And there's still a history of being a big deal. Those tag titles, they really need to be vacated so nobody holds them. So they've got to try and arrange a tournament of teams that nobody cares about.
I mean, just send the tag titles to NXT and tell them to pick a new team from a hat or something, because they are more use on NXT than I feel they've got on the main roster right now.
Okay, as far as tag titles go, you make a good point there, because the winners of the Dusty Classic are entitled to a tag title shot. The women's one.
They are.
Is it Gonzalez?
Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Right. And I can see them being tag champs.
Yeah, give it to them.
Yeah.
Shayna
Baszler go on a fucking warpath.
Yeah, this match.
Face Asuka.
That's the thing. This match at the pay-per-view should be that match. It should not be Bianca and Sasha. It should be Dakota Kai and Gonzalez against Nia Jax and Baszler.
But Vince is doing his part of the booking. He's not going to let Triple H dip his thumb into a pay-per-view.
Yes, an NXT thing,
yeah, except NXT. He stays in his line. Vince controls the main lanes.
Yeah, despite the fact NXT have many more female wrestlers and good female tag teams than the main roster does.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And
you've got Ember Moon and Shotzi.
Yeah, the only reputable main roster tag team you had, they split them up.
Yeah. And just for a feud as well that lasted 5 minutes in a championship match.
If that. Yeah.
And then Bayley's gone to a whole Karen movement of hosting a talk show host. Ding dong hellos, all well and good, but you traded a SmackDown Women's Championship for a talk show and airtime. Just I've had it funny on SmackDown this week when she was just use the bloody door, and everybody was just ignoring her, even Reginald. And it's just the whole focus on the talk show was the door, it's standing there in the middle of the ring and got used twice, and they knocked a plant over coming through the door the first time as well.
Wasn't it Shayna and Nia that used the door?
Yeah, and Bayley does when she starts the talk show. So, and they both couldn't fit through the door anyway. So Shayna pushed Nia pushed Shayna back and walked through first, and then Shayna just followed her through.
I was going to say, you didn't mean Bayley can't fit through the door, because there's no way you meant Bayley.
No.
So
you've had your dinner.
Doesn't stop them from falling in more. So. But obviously that's the one for the female tag title thing. But WWE Creative as a whole. Well, let's just say we'll split it this way for the modern product. We have Raw, we have SmackDown. run by the same overseeing person.
Yeah.
However, watch both shows, you wouldn't fucking know it.
No, I guess not.
And
especially when you look at the ratings as well. SmackDown's got such better ratings than Raw lately.
Well, SmackDown should always have better ratings than Raw because SmackDown's on cable television, which is easier for people to watch. It's got big audience.
It kind of makes you think, doesn't it?
So, the fact that Raw's ratings are what they are isn't wholly surprising, but at the same time, there was a point in time, not even that long ago, Raw was still doing 1.5–2 million people.
Yeah.
And it's been steadily getting worse and worse and worse. There was a point where SmackDown...
You can kind of tell which one Vince is focusing on, can't you?
Well, I don't think Vince is focusing on either of them. In all honesty, I think that's kind of part of the problem.
I mean, I think he's just kind of given full reign to the creative team. If he was to bring in Hunter and
Paul,
give him a bit, Paul a bit, and
give him a bit. You can use their real names; it's fine.
If he was to bring in Paul and bring in Paul and let him do a couple of shows, I think Vince would see a significant improvement on what's happening now, especially on ratings and stuff like that. Because you see, I gotta say, the best pay-per-view I've watched this year, NXT Vengeance Day. No second thought about it. I thought it was one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in probably a year, maybe a year and a half.
That's fair. Obviously, to explain to our viewers for context, you only watch WWE pay-per-views, so that's your base, Paul.
No, I watch pay-per-views and I watch the shows.
Yeah, but I mean, you only watch WWE ones.
Yeah.
Because when you say best pay-per-view of the year, there will be people who will argue, but they won't be talking necessarily about WWE pay-per-views, which won't make it.
I meant WWE pay-per-view. Yeah, I mean best WWE pay-per-view of the year. No questions asked. NXT Vengeance Day. Yeah. There wasn't a single boring match or match where I could have rolled over and quite easily fallen asleep. Whereas Royal Rumble, I was bored within 5 minutes. And then, I can't really think of any memorable pay-per-view before that. I mean, even WrestleMania last year wasn't exactly brilliant. The only match I was watching it for was Edge versus Orton, and that wasn't... It was alright, but it wasn't the best match I've ever seen. I think Pete Dunne versus Finn Balor was one of the best matches I've seen so far this year. But I will say NXT UK this week had a really, really, really good show. As
soon as you mentioned NXT UK, before you get to the show, they have probably had the best WWE match of the year, and that's Walter versus Dragunov.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's just a shame Dragunov came up short because I don't like Walter.
Yeah, you say it to his face, right? And then try saying it after he's chopped you.
I would gladly take a chop from Walter, but at the same time,
I wouldn't recommend it. I know people that's happened to, and it's not pleasant.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to, just for the fan in me. I want him to split my soul from my body, but
probably could.
Yeah. And send me on a seizure to boot because of my epilepsy, but
which is probably the reason he wouldn't do it.
He'd light up the neurons in my brain like a Christmas tree. Could you imagine having an EEG done while being slapped from water? See how many neurons go wee.
Well, you'd have to keep doing it for it to stay that way.
I can imagine that being like the biggest wake-up call. If you're going into a wrestling match half awake, you just like go to the back and you say, "Oh mate, I'm so tired." Walter comes up to you and chops you across the chest, and you're like, "I'm awake now."
Yeah, could you imagine one day if WWE make a water alarm clock and it wakes you up by chopping you? You'd never be asleep. You'd be like,
No, you wouldn't.
you imagine what the snooze button would be like.
Yeah. Could you imagine if somebody accidentally moved it too close to the face and did it right across the side of your head? Death by water alarm clock.
Well, what makes it worse is though that's just the alarm. You imagine if you set it to buzzer,
Oh Jesus.
rapid chops.
Yeah. But
Anyway, let's go on. I think we should probably go on to the NXT UK show, which was going to talk about before I interrupted you.
That's all right. So yeah, NXT UK, we saw the contract signing of the women's championship match with Nico Satomura versus Kaylee Ray.
The recently arrived Miko Sakamura.
Sorry?
The recently arrived Miko Sakamura.
Yeah, the very recently arrived Nico Satomura. So, which begs into question what are creative doing? But for that, I can give you an answer. What they're doing is built up an undefeatable women's championship, just like they did with Pete Dunne, except that was for the United Kingdom championship. And then all of a sudden, a big shot to arrive, like what happened with Walter, and they're doing exactly the same thing for Nico Satomura. And in 2 weeks, we're going to have a new champion.
What I would say to you is, particularly with NXT UK, you're going to get much more of the non-traditional WWE fans watch something like NXT UK. So those people would be probably familiar with these people's independent backgrounds, like Sakamura, like Miko's, and Walters, as it was in the case. So when those guys turned up in NXT UK, nobody was surprised when they won stuff.
Yeah,
because
I mean,
people knew the history of it. You're not looking, because generally you're not going to get main roster fans watch NXT UK. It's generally not going to be a thing.
Yeah, you look at Nico Satomura and you hear about what she's done, and some people obviously they've watched what she's done. And for those of us who saw her in the Mae Young Classic a couple of years ago, the only person to beat her was Toni Storm, and it was kind of a fluke. So, like, there's a reason why they call her the final boss, and I think Kaylee Ray will find that out in 2 weeks' time.
By the way, just so you're aware, that match has been taped. It's already happened.
Ah. Okay.
So there will be people out there who will know what the result of that match is. Hopefully, no spoilers, people, because some people would like to see that match happen.
Yeah. But the other matches that happened this week, you had Rampage Brown versus
was it
Joe Coffey?
There you go, Coffey, yeah.
And that was a heavy hitting match. That was a really tough fought match. I wasn't expecting Rampage to come out on top, but he did, and I was happy. But also, the Heritage Cup was Shaw Samuels versus A-Kid for the Heritage Cup, and that I thought was a really great match. Even though Shaw Samuels came up short and he is a new arrival for NXT, I can see nothing but great things happening for him. Probably not an NXT UK Championship, but good things.
The thing is with Shaw Samuels is people who watch British wrestling scene would know who he is because he used to be the Butcher Shaw Samuels. Yeah. And I think personally he's more likely to be one of those who fares better in the main roster of WWE than he will do on the NXT brand, because there are certain wrestlers who will just do better as main roster wrestlers because of how they work.
I'd say that he's one of the closest people on the roster currently that is the closest thing to a Vince's guy on this side of the pond, because he's big, he don't take no crap, and he's got that character. So I could see Vince hooking him up from NXT UK and him being one of the first people to go up to the main roster if Pete Dunne doesn't beat him there first. But with Pete Dunne, I really don't think he's going to be leaving NXT anytime soon.
Pete Dunne isn't really a Vince guy because he's the size is the thing.
Yeah. I can see if Pete Dunne goes up to the main roster, I think the only way they're going to do it is if they do a British invasion kind of thing, and they have Mustache Mountain with him and reunite the old British strong style. But apart from that, I can't see him going up to the main roster anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, Vince traditionally will. If you're a big mountain of a guy, of a wrestler, Vince will more often like just take one look at you and go, "Oh, the beef," and he'll want to put you straight into the thing. The only example I can give you, a fairly recent example where he's brought someone up from NXT and it seems to be working, is Damian Priest.
Yeah, I mean, I love the whole Damian Priest Bad Bunny thing. It's both hilarious and it's actually kind of cool at the same time. There's a rumor going around that Bad Bunny's going to have a match at WrestleMania as well.
Apparently, it's supposed to be a tag with him and Priest against Miz and Morrison, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's either going to be that or if they let him hold on to the 24/7 championship for that long. I mean, with Priest by his side, I can see it kind of happening because Priest will be like a bodyguard, but then again, with Ron Killings in the picture all the time, it's going to be keep on your toes all the time. But he's been 24/7 champion for 5 days now, and we haven't heard anything to say that Ron Killings has got the title back or got his baby back, as you might say. But I don't know.
To be fair, at this point, Ron Killings is like 1,000 times 24/7 champion, isn't he? Something like that.
I believe he's coming up to 100. Yeah. I mean, I thought they was going to stop at 16 just to make like the title seem a bit kind of relevant for Ric Flair's like sake. But to be honest, no, doesn't seem to be going that way. I think that one thing that should happen and should happen soon is one of the 24/7 champions, probably Ron Killings, like when he gets the title back, which no doubt and probably will. I reckon they should let Nature Boy pin him.
I do find
just for the sake of it.
I do find it weird you're calling him Ron Killings, though, because that's his independent wrestling name and his TNA name. Yes, it's his real name, but that's not his wrestling name, is it?
Yeah, well, with some wrestlers, I call them. I call them by their name. Some wrestlers I don't like. With R-Truth, like because of how much he's like stayed the same but kind of changed over the years. Like I like what he does, so I feel like I give him enough respect to call him by the name that he prefers and he identifies as.
Well, in the WWE, he's had quite a few names. Do you know his original one? It was before you started. It was before you started watching wrestling. So this isn't a quiz. I'm just asking if you actually know what it is. I'm going to tell you.
I don't actually.
Right, because when he first started in WWE, it was like in 1999, and he's tagging with Road Dogg. He was K-Quick.
Yeah. I've heard that. Yeah.
Right. So that was his original WWE name. He used his real name in TNA when it was a thing, because he was an NWA champion in TNA, which is a world title, a legitimate one.
Yeah.
And now look at him.
It does really make you think.
So, and the thing is, Ron Killings is talented. He is a good wrestler. Yet WWE see him as a comedy act, so that's what he is.
I mean, when he's been given like complete control of creative on the 24/7 championship, I think some of the stuff that he's come up with is gold. But when WWE try and get involved and get celebrities involved and stuff like that, I mean, I don't think Truth minds it, but at the same time, I can see that he can probably get frustrated because there's such a thing as like, if you're going to give me the reins of the 24/7 championship to make it like good for TV, then like let him do his own thing, kind of what they've let Bray Wyatt do with The Fiend, because he's in charge of his own creative with The Fiend to a certain extent too.
There's a difference though. Truth has the buddy card. I don't know if you're aware of this. He is friends with Vince McMahon. I mean, legitimately, actually, he's friends.
Yeah.
And that gets you a lot of things from Vince McMahon, which you otherwise would not get.
Yeah. I mean, that's what kind of shocked me the most about Bray Wyatt when I heard that he was given the creative stance with the Fiend and stuff. He was given his own like willpower to do what he wanted with the Fiend and stuff. Like that was not on WWE creative at all.
No, but I'll tell you what would happen though when Vince first saw that. He would have gone, "Oh, it's Undertaker!" Ah.
It's Undertaker 2.0. It's like the Undertaker and the Boogeyman had a baby
Minus the worms.
and an affair with Mankind because of the mask.
Oh no, his mask is much better than Foley's. And no offense to Mick Foley, because I like Mankind. I like the mask and everything. But the Fiend's mask, at least his original one, was so much better.
I mean, I'm going to talk. You could say that the Boogeyman, the Undertaker, and Mankind had a weird astrogeonomical Satan spawn threesome and decided to induce a baby in a test tube, and out came the Fiend, I guess.
That sounds more like he was giving birth to Vince McMahon. But anyway.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's how WWE Creative is born.
Or maybe like they're twins, and Vince McMahon and the Fiend are just bedfellows.
Well, you could take that a couple of ways, and it depends on how you want to portray Vince, I guess.
No, come on.
You sure? Because I can think of a couple of ways, one of which is very offensive.
Yeah, think about that way if you want, but I'm not going to. I mean, I could, but I should. No, I shouldn't, rather.
Too late, I'm sure you already are.
Yikes.
So, or at least once you watch Elimination Chamber later and you go to bed afterwards, you'll be thinking about it, and it'll be like, and then you'll sleep into your dreams. And you'll hear this voice going, "Let
That's pretty sure that's what Bray said to Vince the first time.
me in." I'm sure he did.
What are you doing?
Right. But going to circle back just momentarily to the creative. My biggest beef with WWE Creative, and I'm going to see if you share this with me. Women's promos for the promos for the women's wrestlers, their storylines. We've all got to be friends. We can't have a feud unless we're friends first, then break up.
It is just that, isn't it? I mean, like,
and the overuse
you
of
go
the
out bag shopping, and then next minute, you know, you're 10 paces with a handbag in your hand, swinging for the fences.
Yeah, and the overuse of the word bitch. Which apparently is edgy.
I mean, like, cut the bloody script, turn around and call the bitch a slag. Make it relatable or something.
They can't. That's adult content. That's TV-14. WWE don't do that. They've got it's PG. It's family friendly. Remember, it's PG audience. You could do stuff like that if you was one of the other companies, because most of those are TV-14. But WWE aims at a younger demographic.
I mean,
also they want to keep advertisers, so they can't use words like slag.
I mean, I think like I've heard other like words used in NXT and stuff, but
yeah, but NXT up until it got put up into the main thing isn't a bigger thing. Plus, smaller audience. You couldn't, for instance, have somebody on SmackDown say that because that's Fox. And oh yeah, Fox are very even-handed and never overreact to anything.
What?
I think Bruce wants his push. He thinks you're WWE. He thinks you're WWE. Yeah, he thinks you're WWE creative, and he wants his push.
I can push you off the sofa if you want, but you're already on the floor.
Or maybe he wants to work less dates.
Ugh.
Or he wants creative control.
Bruce. David Meltzer. Oh, so I was hoping he was going to start growling.
I think you've just confused him, because Meltzer confuses most people.
Wait, I think that worked. He stopped barking.
Again, he's probably confused.
He's trying to sniff a bottle of vodka that my brother's left on the table.
Well, that sounds like Meltzer.
The dog's probably an alcoholic, but he's not my dog. I didn't teach him that, I swear.
No, but you mentioned Meltzer, so probably that's what he relates to Meltzer.
I mean, that's probably why he's whining. Anybody have wine if they Meltzer?
To be fair,
Yeah.
there's probably a lot of wrestling journalists who fall into that same category, but we can get onto that in a minute. What I am going to speak to you about, and you kind of touched upon this before, and this relates to WWE Creative as well. The 3 wrestlers that have come out recently, apparently that WWE Creative are not high on, or Vince has nothing for: Aleister Black, Andrade Cien Almas, and Keith Lee. How can you have nothing for at least 2 of them? There's one of them I don't actually like, but we'll get to that point. But there are people who do like all 3 of them. So you do have to ask the question.
I like Aleister Black. And I do like Keith Lee. I find him like it's kind of like a good match for I'm going to be really disappointed if he isn't medically cleared, because I can see him and
Lashley?
Lashley, having a really good feud down the line once Riddle's out of the picture, if he ever gets out of the picture, because, well, it's Riddle.
Well, if you want Riddle out of the picture, just tell him you know where to get some good weed.
There is that. But, yeah, I mean, I don't like Andrade. I mean, he's not a bad wrestler, but he's not exactly the best. I don't know, there's just part of me that doesn't like him.
It's interesting because we actually share the same opinion on that. I don't like him either.
No.
I know a lot of people who do that, and I touched upon this when I did the show earlier with High Spots, because I was talking about there's certain wrestlers I don't like, but a lot of people do. It's okay to like who you like. That's never a problem for me.
No.
I do not like Almas or Andrade, whatever you want to call him. And it's just because I find him boring. It's as simple as that.
He's stale. His
Right.
character is just what
Other people may enjoy him. Good. I'm glad it makes you happy to watch it. He does not. I would much rather watch Aleister Black or Keith Lee.
his work in NXT was 1,000 times better than his work on main roster. Well, in my opinion, he shouldn't have been brought up to main roster.
You mean Andrade?
Andrade, yeah, until like they had a spot for the character that he was playing in NXT. Because when he was in NXT, he was the rich guy that partied all the time, and like that kind of person would have fit in somewhere along the lines now. But because they brought him up to main roster so soon, I think they kind of shot the duck on that one and wasted what could have been a great like character. But now it's I don't like him. When I see him on the main roster, I just look the other way because it's just
To be honest, and I'm quite happy to say there's 2 things about Andrade particularly, right? And one of what, and they're both related to the same thing, kind of. The best thing about Andrade was also the worst thing about Andrade, and that was Selena Vega.
His matches with Rey Mysterio on the main roster, though, were really good matches.
No, I don't agree with that, and I'm going to get onto why. Because this relates to Vega again. She was a big boom for him. She's a great promo. She's good doing stuff, but she got involved way too many times in matches, which makes him look like he can't do it on his own and that he's not very good. Whether he is or not, no idea, because never seen him win a match on his own.
And I don't think you're ever going to get the chance to either, unless you watch AEW, from what I've heard.
Oh, I hope you don't go there, because that's something I would not watch.
I mean, like, just because he's in Charlotte's pants doesn't mean he's going to stay on the WWE train. As much
Well,
as they want him to, and it could cause friction between their relationship, I can see him going away AEW.
Well, bear in mind they've released a lot of people, but Andrade wasn't one of those released. So
Yeah, but you can honestly kind of hazard a guess as to why he wasn't released because of who he's in with.
yeah, that's kind of my point. So, but here's the other thing. We'll get on to Aleister Black. If anyone should have been released, it should have been him, considering what happened to his wife.
Yeah, I agree.
And for
what
those
happened to his wife wasn't fair.
Yeah, and for those of you who do not know, I imagine most of you do if you're wrestling fans, that's Selena Vega.
Yeah.
So, as you pointed out, WWE decided that they wanted control of everyone's Twitches and cameos, right? Here's the thing about that. If you're doing that crap under your real names and you're not making it any way related to your on-screen character, they can't do anything. If you're using your WWE character in any way on your channel, they actually have the right to take it. It's in the contracts they sign. Selena clearly didn't read her contract. The reason why Paige gets away with still doing it is her channel's under her real name.
Yeah. And she's retired.
And that's the other thing, she's not active.
Retired.
Oh no, she's probably retired. She actually can't wrestle. And it's just what happened to her is worse than what happened to Bryan and Edge. So unless they make some medical advances, I mean, fairly significant ones as well, she's not wrestling.
Yeah, I
also
can't say whether or not I could see her coming back, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think she'll come back at all, but there's also the fact of there's been various things that WWE failed to do to protect her during their watch. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're keeping her, because they don't want to look even worse than they would do if they just let her go.
I mean, especially with all the fighting with my family and the other stuff that they've done with her story. Like,
there's a much
complete and
yeah, there is a much bigger fallout. Yeah, there is a much bigger fallout if they fire Paige than there ever would have been for Selena, simply because Paige is known in mainstream circles.
Yeah.
For the exact reason you just mentioned, fighting with my family. She made a film with The Rock, and The Rock happens to be the most well-known movie star on the planet.
Yeah.
It's a thing. And also, if they want to be good with The Rock, and Rock's friends with her.
Oh, yeah.
I suspect that might be one of the reasons why she's not been fired. Or let go, I should say, or released. So
6.5 dozen the other on that one, if you ask me. Being let go just seems a lot nicer than being fired, but at the same time, it's exactly the same. No,
there's differences, because if you're released, they can release you without binding you to the no compete. If you're fired,
getting annoying.
Yeah, if you're fired, then you're hit with the no compete.
Yeah.
So there are differences between being fired and released. Because I personally think, and this is a suspicion I have, I suspect Aleister Black will wait for his contract to run out and then just leave.
Yeah, probably.
Simply because if your contract runs out and you go, there's no, you can just go. There's no non-compete or anything.
I mean, word through the grapevine was that he was supposed to be returning the night after Royal Rumble to face Daniel Bryan and start up a storyline that had led them to a match at WrestleMania. But no lights went out, no Aleister Black music hit, and we didn't get the return that we wanted or thought we was going to get.
Exactly.
So whether or not something happens the night after Elimination Chamber, or maybe, I don't know, at Fastlane something happens, we don't know. But until Aleister Black's contract runs out, we won't know either. So
now, you see what's currently going on right now is we're trying to do this is comparable to WWE creative meetings. We're trying to get something done, and Bruce is eventually Vince McMahon. He keeps shouting and interrupting, and wanting all the attention, so everything's done his way. So basically, everything's crap. Probably the best way of putting it, really. Bruce is Vince McMahon. In fact, Bruce in a minute start doing this. We'll start hearing, "No chance, that's what you got." Because you know, Bruce really is in it just for all the likes and stuff, and he's in it for that Saudi money. Bruce is trying to get over. Bruce wants a push. And I don't think he means.
I muted it for like your benefit. He was barking for that whole time.
I kind of figured as much. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. As much as people do like dogs, too much barking is too much barking. So yeah, the audience appreciates it as well. So obviously, when there's a mute going on, you know why people. So do apologise, but obviously, we just assume you'd rather not hear chronic barking. So, but while Aaron's dealing with Vince McMahon down there, I will go a bit more into what's going on here. Obviously, yeah, Aleister Black and Keith Lee had very good independent wrestling careers before WWE. It's one of the reasons they got noticed and they got signed, to be perfectly honest. Both talented, both good. And ever since they've been with WWE, for the most part, although NXT was good for Aleister Black. Since the main roster of Aleister Black, though, not so much. And Keith Lee did all right for the most part in NXT until he became NXT champion, and that really didn't go that well. And essentially, one title defense, and he lost it to Killer Cross. So their main roster, and yeah, all the fun stuff since changing his music, changing what he wears. It's not good stuff, people. Really isn't very good stuff at all. Oh, so it sometimes makes you wonder what they think with this stuff, because you really think at this point, WWE Creative particularly, if not Vince at least, WWE Creative may have got the idea of the fact of you need to offer people more than just what you get given. And Aleister Black and Keith Lee particularly are two very different wrestlers from what they already have. So you think, great, something new, something good we can put in. Apparently not. Oh joy, oh fun. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, while Aaron is busy dealing with what's going on, I should probably give my Elimination Chamber picks as well, yeah, so we can be a bit fair. So I asked Aaron to give his earlier, I'm going to give mine. Okay. For the WWE Championship match for the Elimination Chamber, yeah, I think Drew's retaining. It's, I like some of the people in this match, but I think Drew's keeping the belt. It's as simple as that. I think there'll be some good stuff, probably from Kofi, because Kofi loves his unique spots. But I think Drew's keeping the belt. Okay, and number 2.
Hello.
I was just regaling our listeners with my views on Aleister Black and Keith Lee, and I was giving my chamber predictions because obviously I asked you earlier, and I forgot to give mine, so I'm just doing that while you were busy. So, I'll just go through them quickly now because I can do it easily enough. I'm with you,
I
Bobby
haven't
Lashley.
killed the puppy, just so you know.
No, he's just gagged him with a big dog.
No, he's
I know he's cool, right? Yeah, Lashley's winning the triple threat, or if it's a singles match, I still think he's winning. I have Cesaro winning the chamber match.
I think we're on the same level there.
Right. I think Reigns will win the title match with the winner, but I think it'll be literally right after the chamber match.
Yeah,
So
I can see.
I think Roman's going to be a dick.
I can see Vince doing that as well, because I mean Cesaro's been in the business for like quite a while now, and like he's never really had that kind of championship like push before. And Vince has got a thing where he see like a person like Cesaro, and he just dangle that carrot above their head, and just as they're about to reach for it, pull it out of the way. And probably won't get another championship opportunity for God knows how long.
I was going to say also, Cesaro's just recently signed a new contract.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. So that kind of makes me think that he's not winning the title match, I mean. But I think he's winning the chamber. As for the tag match, I think I already made it clear. I think Bianca and Sasha are winning. As much sense as it doesn't make, I still think they're winning.
Yeah.
Because WWE Creative sucks.
I mean, I could see it happening, but part of me wants Shayna and Nia to retain, because I want to see Raquel Gonzalez pick Nia Jax up and ragdoll her on NXT.
Oh no! But what about Nia's hole?
Exactly. And Raquel can do what she threatened to do and shove that boot right up her hole. And she did that on live TV as well, which was just fantastic.
Yeah, the thing is, Nia needs to be really careful though, because she might end up like X-Pac's hole.
Yeah, resting in pieces.
Yeah, that's not pleasant. If you're not familiar with that, people, go check it out. Sean Waltman, X-Pac talks about it a lot. Plus,
network it now.
It's also on the network somewhere as well, if I remember.
Search up X-Pac's hole. WWE.
Yeah. On the network, do not use that search term on Google or any other search engine, okay? Because if you're a younger viewer, you shouldn't be watching anyway because it's over 18s. But if you're younger or easily offended, do not use that search term unless you've got safe search turned on your browser.
It is what it is.
Let's just say you spent some time in China.
Right around Bangkok.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It was a rough landing either way, wasn't it?
Oh, I think so, yeah. But obviously, those are my predictions, so I think it clears some time. But
funny thing was, I think I watched a documentary about that, and he said the incident took his pain threshold to a whole new level.
Well, you know, he just got tired of doing what he was told.
Oh, they always said he was a pain in the arse, and he thought he'd act the part.
Yeah, but he was a big little man, you see.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I've been having a bit of fun with you guys. That's the lyrics to the DX song. So, to his DX song, I should say. Because X-Pac had his own version of the song. So anyway, but yeah, you are quite right. It would have hurt. But I was mentioning also about Aleister Black and Keith Lee. They had great independent careers before they come to WWE. Their NXT careers were pretty good. Keith Lee's reign as NXT champion sucked, but their careers were pretty good. But since main roster for both of them, it's not been good.
Oh, Bruce, your feet are all wet. Curse.
So, do I think it'll get better for either of them?
No.
Keith Lee, maybe. Aleister Black, no.
No. If Aleister Black goes to AEW, then I may have to start watching it.
Well, I think Tommy End would fit in very well in.
I think
AEW.
he would,
because he can't
possibly
be
in the inner circle.
Yeah, he can kick MJF's head off.
Oh yeah.
And for those of you who do follow AEW, you know exactly who that is. For those of you who are WWE fans, I'm trying to think the most equivalent person you can think of. Think of The Miz, but much more annoying. Also, no PG filter.
I mean, I could see him going there as Tommy End, because I watched his matches as Tommy End. He was one of the only wrestlers that I watched off of WWE when I first started watching. And when he made his NXT UK debut at the tournament against Neville, and because he was undefeated on the independent circuit, and he came up and he fought against Neville, and then Neville kind of squashed him, but beat him. And I was just like, why have they done this? Why have they killed Tommy and the character? And then to see him a couple of months later come up to NXT as Aleister Black, I was just like, oh shit, Tommy.
Well, the thing about that with WWE thing is with Neville is Neville in WWE was never that good. On the independent circuit and in AEW, Neville is Pac, and Pac's a bastard. And he's a much better wrestler as Pac than he ever was as Neville. And him and End in AEW or in an independent circuit would have much better matches than what you would have seen.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because I watched Pac versus Tommy, and one of the best matches I've probably ever watched. But like, I was really hoping that we'd see that on the main roster, but then when Neville left, and then now with Aleister Black's future being up in the air, it's just kind of...
Yeah, two things that WWE are solely responsible for right there. Pac leaving and Aleister Black sitting at home twiddling his thumbs.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you follow his Instagram account, you can see that I think he's trying to build up to something like a return on his Instagram account and a couple of things when he's not like hyping up his merch 24/7. But yeah, I can't see him. I'd love to see him come back and make a massive impact. But then with WWE Creative, it's just like, yeah, that's not gonna happen.
No, because here's the thing. Because obviously you don't watch other stuff other than WWE. Having watched Pac since he surfaced in AEW, the former Neville, just to keep everyone up to date, he is clearly so much happier with what he's doing now than what he ever did with WWE. I'm not saying the WWE is bad for every wrestler, because it clearly isn't. But there are certain wrestlers I think need certain things, and I think Pac was not served well in WWE, and I think Aleister Black may also fall into that category.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching a WWE ride along with Sasha Banks and Bayley on the network this one time, and completely off script, they ran into Neville at a drive-through and he was in his Lamborghini, and Bayley went, "Oh look, it's Pac," and from what I heard, Vince went mental over it, and it's been sponged from the WWE network because she used his independent name on a WWE documentary.
It's the name everyone knows him by. Even in WWE, apparently backstage, they still called him that. They never called him Nev.
I mean, like, if memory serves me correct, this was around the same time that Bayley had the 1 week Raw title. The 1 week Raw title reign to Alexa Bliss.
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest. I mean,
she could have lost it. She could have lost the title for that, if memory serves me correctly.
Vince is that big. I wouldn't be surprised. Bear in mind that Vince once upon a time had the idea of having Neville be like essentially a human Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, especially with his like superhero persona, but then he turned to the king of the cruiserweights, and I didn't actually mind his character as like in the cruiserweight division.
Yeah, that is much closer. That is much closer to the bastard Pac.
Yeah, that's so much like Pac. Whereas,
but however, as the bastard Pac, he's turned much higher. But the cruiserweight thing is much closer to it than what Neville ever was.
Yeah. They made him like total babyface, work with a superstar from LA who played Green Arrow, whoever. I can't remember his name.
No, it was Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell can actually wrestle. He's done wrestling matches.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty good.
Yeah, the fact that they forced him to like work with Neville, I think I watched a documentary where Neville just he wasn't into working with a male at all.
No, but here's the funny part.
And the only reason he did it was because he was told to.
Here's the funny part. The opponent in the match, which was Stardust, which is Cody Rhodes, Neville now works for Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And Cody has also appeared in Stephen Amell's shows and was in the first big independent show before AEW was a thing. Stephen Amell wrestled one of Cody's friends, which was Christopher Daniels.
Yeah.
So it's not like he isn't there, but yeah, some people are just not happy working with celebrities as wrestlers, and I can understand that because, for the large part, they're also responsible for your safety as well as you're responsible for theirs. And as a trained wrestler, you know you can take care of people, but if the person you're fighting is not trained or not got the same sort of experience, that can be dangerous, and maybe he just didn't have confidence in Amell working safely or being able to work safe with his opponents. I don't know. But that could be why. It could be just a simple case of because he wasn't a wrestler, he was a celebrity playing wrestler. Maybe he had an issue with it. I don't know.
I mean, either way, right, it's all funny how that's worked out between Amell, Pac, and Cody. Go from one really crappy storyline, unless you're a 5-year-old, to a semi-decent professional relationship in a completely brand new company, which is fair play. But at the same time, it was shit when it was on screen.
Oh yeah, that particular match and build up, yeah, terrible. I mean, the thing I would say though, watching that match, when you bear in mind Amell's not a trained wrestler, I think Amell does pretty well for himself in that match because there are celebrities who've done much worse in wrestling matches than he did.
Yeah, I mean,
well, I think
Mike Tyson comes to mind there a bit.
But I think Neville and Cody helped with this, though. That's the thing. Because if you work with talent, talent will make you look good.
I give up with this dog.
Yeah. But as I was saying, I think that's what it is. If you work with talented people, they can make you look good, even if you're not particularly great.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Baron Corbin. How do you think he's got a wrestling career?
I don't know, from being a Golden Gloves boxer. I mean, they have to mention that every week, don't they?
Yeah, but here's the thing about that, and that's a great achievement. How much boxing does he do when he wrestles? This is what I mean about WWE Creative. If you're going to talk about something like he's a Golden Gloves champion, great. Have him throw punches as part of his arsenal. Or if his finishing move have something to do with boxing.
Like, give him a WMD. Give him the WMD. Like that Big Show used to do. Like, do something like that. Not as corny as like, with his fist bloody clenched. But, like, even Kushida in NXT has that baseball punch that he does. And, like, yeah, just give him something like that. Like,
the thing is, it doesn't necessarily even have to be a finishing move, but have it be part of his signature moves, maybe.
Yeah.
He's got two pretty good moves anyway. Essentially, you've got the that powerbomb.
The end of days.
Deep six and end of days, yeah. You could have it being like a prelude move to one of those.
Yeah.
Because you could use a punch.
Like, if you gave him like a boxing combo and then him pull you grab him by the arm and put you into the end of days. Don't just make him turn around and just grab him arm. Like forcefully turn around, fucking punch him in the back of the head or something.
Yeah, it's much easier to move like somebody who is stunned because you've punched them.
Yeah.
So I mean that's. I mean, that's what I mean, because that's a clear example of WWE Creative. They clearly told them to make a point of this, the gloves, the boxing.
Yeah.
But it makes no sense to his character. He's supposed to be like a king, and he doesn't do any sort of boxing stuff when he's wrestling style. So why mention it?
Well, I don't know, because king and boxing rhymes to a certain extent, maybe? It's just like maybe they're going poetic about it or something. That's the only boxing kind of crap that's actually coming from him.
But the boxing thing predates the king thing anyway. But
there's
been examples of people who've got Golden Gloves experience before, and when it's mentioned, it's incorporated because it's incorporated into their style of when they box and when they wrestle. A good example of this would be Mark Merrow, who you'll probably know as Mark Merrow, but WCW fans will know him as Johnny B. Bad. His wrestling style, he threw punches. He was a Golden Gloves guy like Corbin was, but his style very clearly was influenced by boxing. His ring attire most of the time was influenced by the fact he used to be a boxer. So it made sense to bring the reference fact he used to be he was a Golden Gloves champion because he looks like it and he demonstrated it by how he wrestled. So it makes sense to mention it.
Total sense.
But in Corbin's case, it's like, why? You know, they should also,
honestly don't know.
Also, make more of a fact of. You should also play up the fact that Dolph Ziggler is an amateur champion, right?
Yeah, I mean the way he puts people over.
Yeah, he has a great record in amateur wrestling. Show us some amateur stuff from him, then.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of like links sent to me from a friend of like Baron Corbin actually in the bare knuckle fighting, and back then he was a bit trimmed, a bit more trimmed. He didn't have the belly on him that he has now.
Well, that makes sense.
It was like it absolutely built like a brick shithouse, but you could tell it's him because of the way he moves. Because he moves the same way in boxing matches that he does in WWE, except for the fighting stance, of course. If you gave him that fighting stance, like I reckon he could even give if he goes out on injury. And like, I don't wish an injury on anybody. I just hope that they bring him back a better character. Quit the King bullshit. Just bring him back as a bruiser, like the bare knuckle brawler or something like that. Corbin, the bare knuckle brawler, and let him throw punches. It's so simple. They've got somebody that's got a Golden Gloves boxing champion that has like they've got it in the script on a weekly basis. It's always about Golden Boxer. Like they're constantly reminding us of that fact, yet they've got him wearing a silly fucking crown and not doing stuff that he could be doing to make people go, "Cool, what a tough bastard."
Okay, so there's the other thing you could possibly do with that as well. You could give him a Fight Club gimmick.
Yeah, put him in Raw Underground if you wanted to.
Right, that's what I was going to touch upon. That's something he could have done because if you've got like a Fight Club background and fight experience like he does, when they were still doing those sketches, you could have had him turn up there and be like, "I can beat all of you. I was a Golden Gloves champion," and then you get him to show what he can do.
Yeah,
and it makes him look more badass and dangerous, regardless of whether he's wearing a crown or not. You can still tell that this guy is serious and don't fuck with him.
I mean, if they really wanted to, they've got the big guy Bubba Tunde in the Raw Underground, and when it does come on back, well, if it does come on after all the COVID mess is cleared up, because that's one of the reasons it's not on currently.
Apparently, it's not coming back.
Well, I mean, if it does, and I hope they do bring it back in a way, because I hope that they it adds to storylines and it makes things like a bit more exciting. I can see King Corbin coming back, like I said, after injury, just heading to the Fight Club and not KOing the biggest bastard they have in there. So, like Bubba Tunde, just knocking him out and saying anybody else and walking away, and that being the end of that show.
That's a fair point. You could definitely do that. So, but there's so many characters who need correcting and altering because they've been mishandled in this way. The problem is there's more that need fixing than that actually work, and that's kind of one of the biggest problems with creative.
Yeah,
is they have got a bunch of wrestlers, most of whom you don't care about.
I mean,
because of how they're portrayed.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's all characters and stuff. I've seen some of the wrestlers behind the scenes and stuff do numerous amounts for charity. John Cena being one of them.
I've never
Make-A-Wish.
I've never seen him do anything.
No, I mean neither. He's Invisible Man. Who dat? But Yeah, Roman Reigns is another one, and that kind of makes me question, why is he so polarized? Why do half the world hate him, half the world love him? I get everybody hates his character right now, but even when they was trying to shove him down our throats 5 years ago, like making him win the Royal Rumble so badly that The Rock even got booed, like people still liked him, and then the other half of people still hated him, and it's still the same now, even though he's a heel and acting like a douche on live TV.
Right. The previous thing with the Rumble and stuff, why you got that happen, is because the adult males knew what was going on, that Vince was trying to shove him down his throat and make him the thing. The reason he was getting cheered as well was because you had the kids and the women who liked him.
Yeah, because of the Shield and everything. R.I.P. the Shield.
Yeah,
I was a big Shield fan.
And the women just thought he was attractive and sexy, which, to be fair, if he's your thing...
I mean, yeah, who wouldn't find an ex-football player attractive? Well, American football.
Well, I don't, but that's because of my taste in people. But, but there will be people who will, absolutely.
So, I mean, I always preferred Dean Ambrose to Seth and Roman, not going to lie, to be honest.
Yeah, but again, that depends on what you mean. Are you talking about their wrestling ability, or do you mean as in looks?
Oh, I meant looks for Dean Ambrose, obviously. But their wrestling ability, Roman really didn't have any when he first started off. Let's be honest, he couldn't wrestle that well, especially from his lineage as well. I was expecting so much better wrestling capability, but now he is what he is. But he's a lot better than he was when he started off.
What I think Roman's managed to do now is his ability is not better. He just understands what he is better.
Yeah. See, Bruce agrees.
Because the three members of the Shield, we'll touch upon those, they all had their individual strengths and weaknesses, but the best wrestler out of the three of them is Seth, all day long.
Yeah.
However,
Seth was the best wrestler. Dean had the best character.
Moxley, because that's what I'm going to call him, could wrestle very well, but not at the same level as Seth does. Moxley, however, is also much better at the more violent type of wrestling, which is something Seth cannot do.
Yeah, he was dragged out of ECW kind of wrestling.
Well, Moxley used to compete in an organization called ZZW, which was hardcore wrestling. So he used to do death matches and stuff. So Moxley knows how to do that kind of environment. Hence the reason Moxley was like, yeah, I'll fight Brock Lesnar in a street fight. I don't care. Because he's gone through much worse than Brock Lesnar. So, but then you have Roman, who was, when he first started, he didn't have a lot of experience, and he was very one-dimensional. Let's be honest, right? What's happened?
He was the powerhouse, and that was it.
Right, but that's what he's pointing. When you're in a group like that, you've got two guys. You've got a guy like Mox, got a guy like it's Rollins.
Yeah.
They can do all that other stuff for you, so you don't need to worry about it. So all Roman had to do was just power people. The problem came for Roman is when he was on his own, when this split happened. Because then then realised, I need to be able to do wrestling as well.
I need to be able to talk on a microphone in front of thousands of people. Right,
because most of the promos used to be all of them together, mainly done by Rollins and Mox.
Yep.
And that led to issues.
I mean,
now it's finally got to a point where he's not great, but he knows what he's doing.
I mean, even in NXT, Roman never had a single thing on a microphone. He had matches, and they were squash matches. And then next thing you know, he's appearing on the main roster as the Shield. And he was just like, has he even spoke yet? And then when you finally pass the microphone, he speaks 2 words. Believe that. And you're just like, does he know how to say anything else?
That was pretty much
Like-
what he did. Was this?
Yeah, it's like, believe that. Like,
Yeah.
Can you
'Cause-
say something else now, please? Maybe cut a promo?
Yeah.
No?
Because out the three of them, when it comes to NXT, Seth did the most in NXT out of all three of them. Mox didn't do that much, but he did a few.
Barely saw Moxley.
Right. But then you had Roman.
Roman had 2 matches in the NXT Championship tournament.
Right.
And
yeah.
the first one he won, and then the second one, like, he lost. I mean, if you want to go check out the NXT inaugural championship tournament, it's on the network. But yeah, he wasn't like, he wasn't any better than he was when he first came up to the main roster as the Shield. I was surprised when they made their debut. Like, I was just like, why are they here? They shouldn't be here yet. They haven't won the NXT Championship yet, except for Steph, obviously.
Well, Steph, or Tyler Black, as he was.
Yeah.
So, because that might confuse a few people. Just because if you look going back to NXT and you're trying to find Seth Rollins stuff, you're probably going to be better off looking for Tyler Black, because that was Seth's name before Seth Rollins.
And Roman Reigns' name was Joe Amoa.
Anoa'i.
In his NXT days.
So, and
then when they came up to the Shield, it was the whole Roman Reigns, and
Mox wasn't really there.
No, he was quite the wild card. I was just like, I knew Seth. I'd seen Roman a couple of times, and then I was like, who the fuck is Moxley? Like,
well, Ambrose as he would become then, obviously.
Yeah, Ambrose. I was like, who the fuck is that? I know I've seen the other 2 on NXT. Who the fuck's that guy? And then the more I kind of watched him, the more I kind of fell in love with him, because he had like the rabid, like, lunatic kind of vibe to him. And then as he became known as the Lunatic Fringe for his fringe, and then he had the haircut and the gas masks, and it all just went to fucking shit as his contract ran out, and then he joined AEW, and I was just like, no! What happened to my favourite wrestler? And now he's in AEW, and I haven't watched him.
And much better off.
I mean, I've seen clips of some of his matches with, like, the barbed wire moves and stuff like that, and I was just like, holy shit, maybe I should start watching this. And then part of me is just like, no, you barely have enough time to watch WWE on its own. Do not commit yourself to watching AEW as well.
At some point, right, when it comes to Mox, me and you will try and sort out a time when we can watch Jon Moxley versus Kenny Omega in an unsanctioned match. It took place at an AEW pay-per-view called Full Gear. This match really freaked out a lot of people, but it gives you an idea of what he's truly capable of.
I mean, I've seen, like, a couple of uncomfortable matches. One match that really, like, got to me, I think, was an NXT takeover, and it was Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano. And I think it was the same match that injured Tommaso Ciampa's neck and made him relinquish the title.
I know the match you're on about.
Yeah, I put a post up on Facebook the following day saying, oh my god, NXT takeover, there is a thing as too much, because it made me feel physically uncomfortable watching it. And it was a brilliant match, but it made me so physically uncomfortable.
But I will explain this, and I'll try to explain this to people. Some matches are meant to make you feel that way.
It did it in spades.
Right. Because that's the point of matches like that. You should not be, yippee, I enjoy this, I want to see more people get hurt. No. Your reaction should be the one you have, which is
you should still be, like, human while watching these kind of things, even if they are like scary, or, like, I wouldn't say scary, like adrenaline filled, and, like, worrying is, like, the thing. If you don't feel a certain amount of worry for the human beings that are putting their lives on the line on a daily basis for our entertainment, then there might be something wrong. Go see your GP or something. Right. Because, like, They say wrestling's fake, but the injuries are real.
Well, here's the thing, though, when it comes to those kind of matches, like the unsanctioned matches, nowadays, these kind of matches do not happen every week. They're every so often, and they're special attractions.
Yeah,
which is
once
the
in a blue
best-
moon.
Which is the best place for them, because hardcore wrestling had its time where it was happened a lot. Where it is now, every so often for a special thing, it's probably the best use for it, because that way it's special and people feel like they're not sure what's going to happen. Oh, I've not seen this for a while.
Yeah.
There's an example, but I don't really.
My mum's home.
Okay,
My
was
brother's home too.
I'd say
I'm
there
gonna
is an-
mute because I'll just nod if I agree with you, or shake my head if I disagree with you. Because yeah, they're talking about something.
all I was going to say though is there is an example of one of these kind of matches that's coming up in a few weeks, but it's not a WWE thing, so don't really want to talk about things that are non-WWE. But again, this is the first one of these that's happened in over a year in this particular place, and that's what you should have for things like this. Don't have them be constant. Make them special. That way they matter. And should you be yay glory violence? No, because who really thinks that? Really? Surely the thing is you're supposed to be, oh no, that's going to hurt. No, don't hurt me. Because nobody should really enjoy people getting hurt. It's why would you? Seems a bit silly.
And they show psychopathic tendencies.
Which, to be fair, there are people like that in the world, but for the most part, people don't feel that way. Because, normally you have empathy for other people. That tends to be a thing that happens in the world. So, but at the same time, everyone, this is the other thing about it as well. Everyone, it's variety. You appeal to different tastes for different people.
Empathy?
Some people.
What's
Yeah,
empathy?
I don't know. Well, it means when you care. Means when you care about others, right?
Oh fuck! What's that?
But the thing is, you're supposed, when it comes to wrestling is like a buffet. Different things for different people. We all have different tastes. We don't all go to the salad bar, for example. Some of us want the pizza. Some of us want the Chinese. Some of us want the ribs. Some of us want the drink. We all want different things. And the thing about wrestling is you're trying to cater for the whole. And this is one of the issues with WWE Creative as well, is they don't think that way. They are very much, we're appealing to this because we want money. They're not trying to entertain you, they're trying to make money. There's nothing wrong with making money, but you should be trying to do both. Because if you entertain your audience by giving them variety to enjoy, you will make money that way. What WWE's way goes is they're more concerned about just making the money and don't care. Oh, look, goodie bag. It's Vince McMahon's creative meeting bag. As Vince just told you, you've lost your push.
No, my mum's just bought me a load of ciders. Calling the paramedics yesterday as a thank you. For people that didn't know, my mum had a fall yesterday off of the decking that she's having done in her back garden. So
by Cowboy Builders.
Yeah, by Cowboy Builders. Then she had quite a nasty fall, hurt her neck and back. Don't even make a reference to the song. I could just like.
Oh no, that's not funny because that's real life.
Yeah, and she got discharged late hours of last night, given the all clear. Thank God.
Things are funny.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. Things like that are funny when they're not real.
Yeah, I thought because I was sat down on the sofa and I was actually streaming my Pokemon Go channel on Twitch, because it was a big Kanto
Stay.
event on, and
Stay.
she screamed my name,
Stay.
and I thought
Stay.
she was screaming over
Stay.
like a spider or a rat had run out from the back garden or something. Because obviously we're on the island of Sheppey and rats.
Huh?
But
It's a thing, yeah.
Oh.
but when I went out into the garden, she was on her side screaming in like was obviously pain. I was just like, what the fudge? What the fuck? Like, I really panicked. I'm really worried.
Well, which is fair enough. Most people would be.
And in complete shock.
Well, here's the thing. She wasn't wrestling John Moxley. So
Yeah, well, so you got nothing to worry about, really, yeah.
Yeah, because that it's wrestling, and wrestling is scripted. Everything's going to be fine in the end. But in real life, when that stuff happens to people, it's not fun.
Yeah, I mean,
are
she's
literally worried.
49 years old, so, and she's got rheumatoid arthritis of the spine, so, like, a fall for her is quite dangerous, especially with her cellulitis and stuff like that. I would tell you all the gory details.
But this is the point. That's real life. You should be concerned about things like that, which relates back to what I was trying to explain before. Is your natural reaction to things like that should be.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 3 foot fall onto wooden planks and concrete slabs as well, so it wasn't like just falling onto the floor. It was actually quite a dangerous situation, and we had to have fire and rescue come help and like get her into the back of the ambulance because of like the situation and the flooring that's out in the back garden because it's all unearthed because we're having decking done.
Yeah,
so it's all quite scary.
The thing is, I have a really good comedy line, but I'm not using it because it's not appropriate.
Oh, feel free, it's fine.
Oh no, just be borrowing a line from JR. Oh my God, she's broken in half. That is purely for comedy. It's not meant to be insulting. Just to make it very clear to the audience. This is a wrestling audience, they'll appreciate it. But it is not meant
I don't mind Peter's sense of humour either. I think if it was anybody else, they'd have been like, fuck off. But I don't mind. It is what it is.
Well, at this point, you know me well enough to know that that's just me having a laugh and it's not serious.
Yeah.
Also, JR says that line, so it's not something I've just made up.
Yeah. I mean, like, it'd be different if my mum was still in hospital right now, but she was discharged last night. She's back on her feet. She's been out all day. She's fine. Then I'm all right. Feel free to make a couple of odd-liners.
If your mum was still in hospital, there would not be a joke.
No.
Okay, it's called being appropriate.
Yeah.
I
mean, I tend to have a hard time doing that because the only filters I have are on Snapchat because of my autism.
But here's the thing: Vince McMahon has no filters, hence WWE.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday when she fell over, I was making jokes because it was over. It was me coping. I was either like saying things that I thought were funny, or I was going to start panicking and start crying, and I was trying to keep a level head.
Yeah, humor's good for that sort of stuff. Humor diffuses, it calms people, so it's usually a good thing to do for people.
Yeah, I guess.
Well,
some of the things I said, I think she'd probably slap me for if I was to say them again to her.
Well, don't say them. Well, you might find out what it's like to fall from the deck.
I mean, I don't think she remembers anything like from yesterday.
And don't
really, because of the painkillers.
Yeah, do not remind her. I think you're safer that way.
Mm.
Oh dear. Right. Got some. I do have a subject to broach with you, and I'll see how you feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's been some WWE releases of talent.
Yeah.
Do you know where we're going?
Possibly.
Okay. I'm going to touch upon the most obvious one, who was quite released last month. Lars Sullivan.
I can't blame WWE for doing that, and to be honest, I really don't care about Lars at this point. When he was in NXT, he was the powerhouse, and I think he was just brought up to the main roster at the wrong time.
Okay.
And then with everything that happened as well, all the allegations, it just did not look good for him.
Right. Here's the thing with Lars Sullivan. I don't know what you're aware of this, so I'm gonna tell you because this came out in an interview he did with someone. Basically, he's held his hands up and took blame for everything. And they're getting help. He also suffers from anxiety and a whole bunch of other stuff as well, which he's getting help for. It was actually his choice to be released. Okay, because he just didn't want to have to deal with the pressure, amongst other things. And in the end, WWE have clearly worked out it's in their best interest as well. So they've agreed to it, but it was a mutual thing. So it wasn't a firing. He was just released. So he has no non-compete or anything like that. They just let him go. And here's the thing. He's now training for bare knuckle fighting.
I wouldn't like to be across the ring from him.
You see what I mean?
Yeah. If you can reach his chin, come off it. Guy's nearly 7 foot.
Right, that's my point. There's a guy who's like that. You imagine if Corbin went and did that.
You're just gonna you're gonna have to bring your own step ladder to the fight.
Yeah.
And just hope he doesn't kick it out from underneath you.
Right, exactly.
Otherwise you'll end up on a stretcher either way.
Most WWE fans never saw Lars Sullivan wrestle, let's be honest, right? Because he didn't wrestle that much. But you take one look at him and you think, I'm not fighting you.
NXT he did.
Yeah, but most WWE fans would not have watched NXT at that point because that was very much developmental and it was not on television.
Yeah, I guess.
So, because trust me, most WWE fans did not. I suppose. Yeah, most WWE fans did not watch NXT before it was on television because you had to have the network for it. And most wrestling fans did not care. There is a reason that NXT now has less of an audience than Raw does, despite the fact they're on the same network. Just saying. But by consequence, unless you saw him in NXT, you did not see him wrestle a lot.
I will say this: Lars Sullivan was a better wrestler than AJ Styles' colossal Omos.
That's not hard.
Because I watched a publicly shared video the other day of Omos's first match in NXT, and this was before I started watching NXT, so this is way back. And he was in a pair of tighty whities, and on a guy that big, tighty whities is fucking terrifying because you think you're just going to get poked in the eye if you get power bombed. Yeah. And then he put Everrise through a table, and he did it with a claw kind of choke slam where he grabbed the person by the head, clenched it on like that, and it was basically the iron claw that Eric Rowan used to use. But he kind of used it as a submission and squeezed the temples of his opponent,
which is how that
makes him pass out and then slam them down. And that was literally the only wrestling move he did.
Yeah.
The rest was literally just pushing the person around. It was the worst wrestling I've ever seen.
That's the thing, though.
Especially big guy performance. You've seen Big Show, you've seen Kane. Those are big guys, and those are you see them, they're big, they're bad. This guy was in NXT, and from that performance, it was the worst big guy performance I've ever seen. Right.
Here's the thing about big guy performances, right? Big Show or the Giant, right? if you want to see good performances, actually watch him when he was in WCW as the Giant. He was actually much better.
Yeah.
And what will really terrify you is that if you go back through the Nitros, I can't remember which one it is, there is a Nitro where he literally jumps over the top rope at full pelt chasing someone. It's the scariest thing you're ever going to see.
I've seen that. I watched it and I thought to myself, man, if that was me, I'd have fucking shit myself. I'd have run faster than the other guy. I'd have just run. I'd have not looked back.
The thing is, when I saw that as a kid, because I remember it from when I was watching it when I was younger, I was looked at that time and thought, I'm glad he's not chasing me.
That's like when you're a kid and you've not done your homework. That's how you expect the teacher to come chasing after you.
None of my teachers could ever do that.
I remember secondary school. We did a teachers versus students charity hockey match, and I saw my PE teacher run from one side of the AstroTurf to the other just to get the ball off of me, and I was tempted to drop my stick and run.
I thought you was going to say that you guys did a charity wrestling match. I was going to say, well, hang on.
No, there was no priests at my secondary school.
Ooh. The thing is, though, you talked about sports against adults. When I was younger, I played football a lot. I used to play football against adults when I was like 12 and 14. And unlike most kids who would run away from an adult, I would slide and challenge these people, not caring they're adults. I would play against them the same way as I would do against people my own age. And looking back on it, you think, isn't it lucky they didn't want to kill me?
Yeah.
Because they could have done. And I think that's the same way somebody who has the Big Show jump after them that way probably feels.
Yeah. So what was your favourite match from this week then? What do you reckon match of the week?
Let's see. Favorite match of the week: Bailey versus the Door.
I think Tree versus the Door is probably more appropriate because the Tree just got knocked flying when Bailey opened the door.
I reckon that Tree was actually once Mitch the Plant Pot, and it's just grown up.
Probably. It wouldn't be the first time WWE pulled the wool over our eyes.
Yeah,
it has been 5 years since the plant.
Yeah, check your references, people. If you know what it's from, you'll get the gag.
Poor Mick.
It's funny.
Just find out it's Mick 2.0.
It's funny considering both of those guys are no longer there, and they're both working in the same place together now. All the humour involved, but okay. Here's one for you then, because we haven't touched upon this, because it probably should be something. Who is your favourite wrestler?
Ooh, past, current, or future?
You pick how you want to define
which
that.
roster?
No, I mean your favourite wrestler. You can pick. You can define how you choose that.
I just say past history. I'd either have to go with Sting or Undertaker, maybe.
Okay.
But current, if we're gonna go for the three different rosters, I'd say Pete Dunne, possibly Balor for NXT. SmackDown, I don't think I really have one. Not gonna lie.
My name's Pete Dunne.
Yeah. Raw. I don't know. I don't think I really have a favorite wrestler on Raw either. Of all time, definitely Sting or Undertaker. But currently, my favorite wrestler is probably Pete Dunne or maybe Balor.
Are you a fan of Finn Balor's trunks?
How do you expect me to answer that? Oh,
Oh, come on. I had to throw a direct question in there at some point.
I'm not against his trunks.
Well, something is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is, to quote his Instagram, smile, it's peak.
Well, I guess I knew me.
If he does a drop kick any faster, something else might peak as well.
Makes you
So
wonder
there's
why
been
he
many
runs-
times when he's adjusted his trunks, and we've all wondered whether or not we was going to see his third eye. Let's just say that much.
I always wondered how dangerous this is for him when he does that.
I'm surprised I wouldn't be surprised if he does the tuck, just while he's on TV.
What, you think he's like from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective?
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it is kind of entertaining to watch as much as and wonder whether or not we're accidentally going to have a blooper, like we did with Eva Marie and also like Nikki Bella when they pulled her trunks went to pull her off the apron and you got a full moon's worth.
Not the first time there's things like that in wrestling. I've seen Ric Flair used to show his butt all the time. This was a thing. So did Kurt Angle.
Mm.
And
I mean, some of the outfits that Liv Morgan has been wearing lately. She's had her ass hanging out of her outfits.
oh, what was it I saw in it there? Apparently she's going out with one of the other wrestlers now, but I can't remember who it is.
Mm.
I don't really care either, but this goes back to something I talked about before. When it comes to their personal lives, I was talking about this on the other show I did earlier for the AEW New Japan stuff. When it comes to wrestlers' personal lives, I don't care. Be with whoever you like. Don't give a crap. But some people seem to assume it's okay for them to know everything. I mean, look what happened to Sonya Deville.
Yeah, well, that's like, yeah.
That's not okay.
No.
In no way is that okay.
No.
But some people, this is why the thing about wanting to know about wrestlers' personal lives, or anyone's personal life, like it's famous, to me is kind of creepy.
I mean, you do look at Sonya Deville, and then you can also look at Ruby Riott. They're both in the same kind of, they're both, well,
They're both
lesbian.
You can say it.
And like on one side you've got I
would point out
you've got Sonya Deville who's like openly like wearing the gay pride flag, like has the handkerchief on her belt and stuff. But then you've got Ruby Riott who just acts different.
Okay, here's two things I'll point out. One, I didn't know Ruby Riott was. It doesn't even matter to me one way or the other. But the second thing
I think she is. I can't remember if memory serves. She is. I don't know.
But this comes to my second thing. Even if somebody is or isn't, it's their life. You show or you don't show whatever you want. That's your right. When it comes to a preference as to what you do or do not enjoy, that's okay. Because here's the thing: there'll be a lot of a certain section of the male audience who'll go, "Oh, well, if she's a lesbian, then I'll never get to sleep with her." Like you had a fucking chance.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I think they're both pretty, okay? But I can appreciate the fact they're pretty. I, for one, would never, they're not my type. I'm not theirs. And that's okay, because it's never going to happen.
No.
Because I live in the real world. But it's where people need to be very careful about how much they want to obsess about the people they like. It's okay to be obsessive. But you have
She
to
is
be
straight.
careful.
My mistake.
It happens. People can. It's easy to misinterpret people because you don't necessarily, because if you don't know them that well, particularly because obviously she's famous, right? You don't know her personally, so it's easy to misread things because obviously you just can't turn around and ask her, "Excuse me, Miss Wright, are you straight? Are you bi?" But at the same time, is that any of your fucking business? So, but that's what it comes down to. But Sonia Deville she's out and she's proud, so we know she is. It's a known thing. It does not make it okay, however, just because she reveals these things to the public, it doesn't make it okay to start being a weird arsehole. There's no justification for that at all. She's famous. Oh, wow. Okay, big deal. As in, yeah, she's famous. That doesn't mean you get to do what you like. If a person's famous or something, great. Appreciate the fact of what they're famous for. Be a fan. But being a fan does not mean you start stalking them or doing weird shit.
No.
Because a fan appreciates. That's the point of being a fan, is you're fanatical. But fanaticism is okay until it turns to obsession. If you go towards obsession, that's too far. Come back. Come back.
Yeah.
But I mean, that applies to other industries rather other than just wrestling. But yeah, that's a more recent example of something that happened, and it was not good.
Yeah. I remember who I was getting confused with. It's Tegan Knox, not
I
Roddy
know.
Riott.
Okay, I heard that about Tegan Knox. I didn't know, so.
And Shayna Baszler as well.
Oh, I know Shayna is. That's quite well known.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with stuff like that, unless it's public knowledge and they've said something, I'm not assuming nothing because that's not my business.
Yeah. I mean, Pat Patterson was proud and part of the LGBTQ community as well.
Oh, people knew for years about Pat Patterson, but Pat never tried to stop people knowing because that's just Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
But some people aren't comfortable showing such things, especially in a sport like wrestling, to the wider audience. And it shouldn't be that way. You should not feel you have to hide just because you happen to be very good at performing.
Yeah, I mean, another recent one on the NXT roster is Mercedes Martinez.
Oh, you mean Reckoning?
No, that's Mia Yim. No, that was Mia Yim. Reckoning was Mia Yim.
Oh, so she was Retaliation then.
Yeah, I think I didn't even know that they'd named them. I didn't even know that Martinez had got a name because by the time people had realized that she was no longer part of Retribution, she was back on NXT as Mercedes Martinez with the same mask on, but now it's just part of her gimmick.
They all had names before they debuted them as Retribution.
So I didn't hear what Mercedes Martinez Retribution name was. Didn't get the memo
because it was never said. You had to find out what it was.
Yeah, I mean, Mia Yim was known as Reckoning, even though it was obvious that it was Mia Yim.
Well, no, because Keith Lee recognized her.
I mean, another person.
To be fair, you'd think Keith Lee would know, right?
Yeah, I mean, does he only recognize her with the mask off? Wakes up next to her and just like, "Who are you?" She
maybe
takes
he
the mask off. Oh, honey.
Maybe he likes wearing the mask. I don't know.
It's a kink thing.
Maybe, but goes back to the thing before. Not my business. Don't care. But
I
Yeah,
mean, like you talk about all the different like wrestlers and like with the LGBT community month, like I did a bit of research into it, and like some of the wrestlers that I found out about, I didn't actually know. I didn't actually know that Pat Patterson was.
Did you not? That was
No, I
that was
didn't.
common knowledge.
No, I had no idea. Um, but one that actually surprised me, actual like a little bit more of a recent star to NXT and 205 Live, Jake Atlas.
Ah, okay.
I didn't know he was gay.
Sorry, just figured you wouldn't want to hear them sneeze.
Isn't it?
Thank you. But yeah, do you know what really shocked me was that when Randy Orton came out that he fancies snakes.
What? I'm really confused.
Never mind, the Viper.
Oh,
Right.
I thought you was going there, but I wasn't sure whether or not you was going there. So I was like a bit. Wait, is he actually telling me something like true, or is he having me on again?
No, Randy Orton is actually straight and married, and he has.
I know that he's straight.
Right, but here's the thing, though. He has been stalked by a sperm before.
What?
Right. Watch the match he had with Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. The year they did all the weird projections on the ring, yeah? If you watch Randy Orton's entrance, he's being chased by a sperm down the ramp.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it's supposed to be a snake, but it looks like a sperm.
Yeah, it really did look like a sperm. I think that was the WWE. I think that was the WrestleMania that I finally gave in and paid for the WWE Network.
Well, that was worth it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the WrestleMania that the Hardy Boys returned. I don't know if or not that was the one and the same. So I remember being sat on my laptop watching it, and the Hardy Boys music hit, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And like I nearly fell off the blooming chair because I was so excited.
Do you know what's really funny about that? We'll get about that instance that happened in that match. You are right; it's the same WrestleMania. Literally the night before, they faced the Young Bucks in a tag team match.
Yeah.
Right, and that was for like the to lose the Ring of Honor tag team titles to the Young Bucks.
Yeah,
and literally they had meet and greets the entire morning, and they kept on saying, "No, we're not going to be at WrestleMania, no." But it's interesting now when you bear in mind where Matt Hardy now is.
Yeah,
and where Jeff Hardy probably should be, because there's no way he should be still be doing what he's doing.
No, he really shouldn't be.
Because, yeah, Jeff's body needs to not do that stuff anymore. Jeff has enough things wrong in his life. He shouldn't be doing that again.
Yeah. Sorry, I am getting distracted with a message from somebody that I haven't been speaking to for a long time.
How is Steph?
It wasn't Steph, but okay. I feel kind of attacked. Yikes.
I know it's a joke for when Steph watches this at some point, because she probably will.
I messaged Steph today and spoke to her. She's all right.
I am kidding. I just assume you guys talk because people usually do.
Yeah, I mean, when I was streaming the Pokemon Go event yesterday. What I didn't realize with streaming from my phone was that I'd be streaming my whole phone's screen. So when I went onto Messenger, I thought the bubbles wouldn't be open on live stream. And then, like, after I left, I left it because I thought like live stream I'd be putting on, and I was talking to people like getting invites to raids and stuff, and then I replied to Steph a couple of times as well, and I didn't realize that the messages and stuff were publicized on the live stream. Until I woke up the next day, and I went onto my Twitch stream to see how the videos were doing and see whether or not they got enough views. Saw they had like 18 views on each of the vlogs, 18 views on each of the streams, and then I started watching part of the stream to check on see how much the quality was, and I saw Steph's good morning message. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't realize it did that. And on that point, I deleted every single stream from yesterday. And I was just like, well, I won't be doing that again.
Do you feel like Paige and Xavier Woods by any chance?
No, not on that level. We're still kind of violated.
Yeah.
That should be in the fine print of when it says that you're okay for the Twitch to upload your on-screen content. It does not specify that it will include all your messenger use. Just for any keen streamers out there, don't do it.
Does it say it won't do it though?
No, but it would have been nice. It would have been nice for them to do that.
That's the thing. Unless it states explicitly, assume it does it.
I've never streamed on my phone before. I mean, I'm used to streaming on my Xbox.
You know now.
Yeah, I mean, I stream on my Xbox, and it like it doesn't include any of the Xbox like dashboard or anything like that. It goes onto like a Twitch like commercial kind of thing, and then when you're back on the game, it comes back onto the game. So I thought if you brought Messenger up, it would do the same thing, and then you could go back onto the gaming stream. But no, it streams the whole phone's content, and then like I'm talking like Google searching, I'm talking like Messenger, anything you bring up, and I'm like, well, so my Snapchat code was available for a good 15 minutes. So I was just like, yeah, I'm deleting this. Because I was like, I don't want people like having the Snapchat code.
Well, hopefully,
just like adding me on Snapchat.
Hopefully, guys and girls, we learn the lesson here. Do not live stream Twitch from your phone.
Unless you have a separate phone.
Yeah, unless you're only going to do that and not go to any messages or anything that might be private.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like can understand the reason why some people like have a separate phone for their streaming now, because I'm thinking once I get a new contract and I don't have this phone anymore, I might use this phone for streaming and delete every single other app.
I think what that is, to be honest, a lot of that is a case of
common sense.
Well, yeah. The thing is, it's an easy thing because people went, "Oh wait." I mean, you've done what a normal person would do. You didn't think about it because you just assumed it would do something which wouldn't expose your private details to the world. But unfortunately, Twitch is owned by Amazon, who
love private details.
Oh yeah, them and Facebook. They're up in a tree cuddling and kissing.
Doing stuff they shouldn't be.
Exactly. Oh, I love your data. It feels so good.
Oh yeah.
But let's just circle back to wrestling. So we'll do the last major thing for the wrestling, and then we'll probably sort of let everyone go. So obviously we touched upon your favorite wrestler. How about your favorite match?
What? What platform are we talking? WrestleMania or
just your favorite match? It could be anything.
Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker for the last time. All but a close second is Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair's career for career match.
So the Ric Flair, his career's in jeopardy match.
Yeah,
And Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, the streak versus the career.
yeah.
Cool. Because that helps distinguish it. Because obviously there was two of them, and the first one wasn't that, and the second Michaels match was weird stipulations.
Do you mind?
He's trying to get over. He wants his push.
He just got pushed off the sofa. But if we're talking all time, definitely those two matches. But personally, when it comes to takeover matches, I liked Gargano versus Ciampa. The street fight.
Gotcha. Okay, because you need to distinguish, because obviously they have had quite a few.
I liked their whole rivalry when it came to like takeovers and when it became off of takeovers. The only one match that I didn't like between Gargano and Ciampa was the final bout when Triple H took him to a warehouse, and it was just a load of crap, really.
No, that was bad.
Yeah, it was the worst match out of their series, and to think they're not going to have another one kind of made me like cry on the inside.
Well, I think they will eventually, but hopefully it's a long time coming.
Yeah, I mean, like the fact that Ciampa's not going to be leaving NXT, like you know that they're not going to be having a feud on main roster.
Well, the thing is, Ciampa's simply not up to a full-time schedule because of his injuries.
No.
Which is why he won't get called up at all. It's not a case of Vince won't necessarily want to call him up. It's the fact that Ciampa wouldn't be able to do the schedule.
No, I mean I can see him like entering in a Royal Rumble match as like a surprise entry.
Yeah.
But that's the closest thing to a main roster I think he'll ever get. I mean, if he was to go into like a main event match, like he could just not do house shows, but then people would be pissed off with him, and they'd probably feel like he's letting people down.
Well, nobody's doing house shows at the moment.
I mean, I think they should come up with a title that's across all three brands. Like, I know they've got the 24/7 championship, but I feel like they should come up with a title that's represented for all three brands, like an inter-brand championship.
Okay, that's okay. So basically, he should get a sex change and go after the women's tag team title.
No.
That causes all three brands. What's wrong with that?
No, you know what I mean. I think they should come up with like a title that's like good for all three brands that can be defended on all three brands. I mean, the Cruiserweight Championship can be defended on any brand.
Yeah, because it originated from 205 Live, yeah.
Yeah, and it was also featured on Raw before 205 Live became a general thing.
Yeah, and then has been slowly
and then
relegated.
NXT, and then NXT UK now as well. The only place it hasn't been defended on is actually SmackDown.
Also, there's two Cruiserweight champions.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to see come to a head. I just hope Santos Escobar lands on his face. Because I don't like him.
I suspect you don't like someone. I wonder who that could be. It's not Jordan Devlin, is it?
I don't mind Jordan Devlin. For the hate that he's had, I don't mind him. But Santos Escobar, I just don't like his whole gimmick.
Fair enough. Okay, so
he was really well known in the independent circuit as the masked person, and to just take his mask off as soon as he got to NXT just kind of pissed me off a bit.
It's actually the same thing they did to Almas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I have one for you. I have a question for you. This is an NXT question, so more of your wheelhouse. Dexter Lumis.
I like him. I really like him.
Why? I'd like to hear why you like him.
I
'Cause
just
this-
do.
Because it's very divisive for a lot of people, so I'm curious as to why.
I don't have a clue why. I just really like him. It's something about his character, and like even though people say that they want him to stop doing the drawing BS, I'm like I'm all for the drawing. I think it's great. It like solidifies his character that little bit more, and like the whole tortured artist thing works for him in my opinion. But other people say he's not their cup of tea. But I like him, and I could talk about him all day, like how much I like him and what matches I want to see him do. I want to see him versus Orton, and like stuff like that. I can see it happening, and like the build up to it would be amazing.
Okay, I have something you should probably check out then. I know you're not a fan for other organisations, but what you want to do is go and have a look at TNA and look for a guy called Samuel Shaw. Okay. Right? This is Dexter Lumis before he was Dexter Lumis.
Yeah.
Okay? It's essentially the same gimmick, but he is literally a psychopathic stalker serial killer.
Okay.
So he gets very obsessed with a particular ring announcer who's a female.
Yeah.
Not in a creepy way, but an obsessive "I love you" kind of way. He's got very protective of her.
Oof.
It is a gimmick. It's all in character. But the fact is, he made people unnerved and creeped them out, which was the point.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think they should be making him do in NXT. Like,
Well, this is why I suggested you should probably try and find it if you can, because this might give you an idea of some of the stuff he's done before as to whether you think it would work for Lumis now.
I mean, yeah.
So, but I mean, look, I'm a fan of anything that's slightly different when it comes to wrestling because I think variety is a good thing. Whether it's anyone's cup of tea or not is irrelevant. It's something different. Is the drawing goofy shit? Yeah, but so is wrestling.
The fact that he's good at it just makes it better.
Yeah, it makes it work. But as a wrestling fan, if you don't like goofy shit, why are you a wrestling fan?
I mean, I've got two words for you: a gobbledygooker.
Yeah, poor Hector.
Yeah.
Just think, if there was a possibility that could have been The Undertaker in that egg. I'm not kidding. That was considered.
It's know that WWE creative have always been that.
This is out there in the world, by the way. So it's actually a thing that legitimately could have happened. In fact, Mark Undertaker himself was so worried about this possibility, he went to Vince about it. Fortunately for him, Vince turned around and said, "No, let's not."
We never got to see the gobbledygooker versus the boogeyman.
And you never will.
So I don't know. They might have another Legends night.
I'm pretty sure Hector's never doing that again.
Just like who can eat the most worms contest.
That would be Pat Patterson. Oh wait, no, that's rather bad taste now. I didn't mean it that way, but I just realised that sounds worse now than what I intended.
I mean, you are what you eat. Poor Pat. God rest his soul. You've got worms.
Yeah, sorry, Pat. Really, that was not intended. Because as far as I'm aware, Pat never did no harm to nobody. So I don't like making those sort of statements about people like that. Because Pat apparently was a good guy. So
can you stop?
However, there's plenty of people who are quite happy making such statements about, but no, not Pat. Pat Patterson, by all intents and purposes, was a very good guy.
Yeah, helps a lot of wrestlers. Helps a lot of young talents.
Ironically, apparently, was very good at finishes.
Yeah.
So I'm trying my best not to be very rude there. But in all seriousness, when it comes to wrestling planning out, working out a decent finish to a match is difficult. I mean, look at WWE's current ways of finishing matches. Wow. Somebody's not happy.
I do not know what's wrong with him. I've fed him, I've picked up after him, and I'm going to throw him in an industrial blender at this point.
Probably just wants attention. You know, he's like that one wrestler who keeps annoying the creative team. Have you got anything for me? Have you got anything for me? Have you got anything for me?
That's the Miz, ain't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's the Miz or Dolph Ziggler. Well, at this point, it might be Bo Dallas.
Oh, God, is he still around?
He was backstage this week at the tapings for Raw and SmackDown.
The fuck?
He's still under contract.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Is that just because of his like heritage?
You'd think so, but they let his dad go when they released all those people.
Wow.
And they let Curtis Axel go and a bunch of other people. Yeah, Bo Dallas still there. Yet they're doing nothing with him.
I mean, send him to NXT UK. That would be a laugh.
Yeah,
Just see him going up against Bomber Dave Mastiff or Joe Coffey. Fourth member of Gallus, Bo Dallas.
Have him join Imperium.
Oh, hell.
Or,
I'd like to see the initiation ceremony, see how many slaps he can take.
or he can join the Undisputed Era and replace Adam Cole.
Oh, God. I mean, have you seen there was a meme going around a little while ago, and it was how badly you've been affected by water, and there was like a chart of chest pictures that had like just his arm print on his chest, and it was different forms of red on different people.
And at the very top of that list is Ilya Dragunov going, me. But
I think the top one was actually Daniel Bryan after the Greatest Royal Rumble.
That's a fair shout. Because his chest
looked like he had ground beef. He looked like he had ground beef on his chest.
Yeah, that's about the reddest I've ever seen anyone's chest look.
Yeah.
Bad.
That was awful.
Without drawing blood, I'd point out, because I've seen people that many times they've drawn blood.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even Ilya's chest wasn't that bad after his match with Walter.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't Daniel Bryan Greatest Royal Rumble bad.
I was going to say, back in the day, there were matches between Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat where they chopped each other so much they started bleeding.
Yeah.
Because those guys could chop.
Oh, yeah. They could chop wood for a woodchuck.
So, but there is that, which is a big thing. But what I was going to say, though, is if Bo Dallas joined the Undisputed Era, he would be like, wait for it, Bo leave, baby!
You had to go there. And yeah, Roderick and Kyle would turn around with Bobby, and they turn around, look at him square in the eye, and say, "Yes, Bo, leave."
And it'd go right over his head, and he'd be, "Oh, you do believe?"
I'd just be so. I could see Bo giving Ron Killings a run for his money.
Yeah, you do
Just
realise that
giving towards the 24/7 championship. That'd be hilarious.
you do realise if WWE Creative just had that idea for him with the Undisputed Era, they will probably nick that and use it.
Yeah, good. Copyright. You can't do that. Can't do that now.
If you do want booking ideas, by all means get in touch, and I'm sure we can work something out because clearly you guys need the help.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, and we're in the UK as well, so you've got your organisation here. Just give us a nudge.
in my case, their actual base for NXT UK is not that far away from where I live.
Yeah, that's true.
They're in North London, which is where I am.
Yep.
So definitely not that far away. But yeah,
Well, the condition is if you take him, you've got to take me as well. Take me with you.
you need to take this one because that way you can get away from Bruce the dog.
It's not just Bruce. I have good ideas. Some of my ideas are pretty good.
No, I just said if they're taking you, they have to take you to get you away from Bruce.
So hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll be away from Bruce anyway. Hopefully I'll be back in Margate.
I suspect you're probably going to be there until at least April at the earliest.
I will survive. Hey, hey.
Just stay away from that decking.
Bloody thing's cursed. Ain't even finished yet.
Clearly not. You can always have a cinematic match on it.
I guess.
You could have the deckyard match. You against Bruce in a cinematic match. We'll get WWE Creative to book it.
Yeah.
Sounds about right, doesn't it?
Does.
And that'll be the main event for Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
And you know it will still do better than the normal stuff does.
Oh, 100%.
So, see, WWE Creative. I mean, in all seriousness, it's a hard job. It really is when you bear in mind what they've got to do. But at the same time, you're paid to do it.
Not paid to do it half-assed.
Yeah. And you're supposed to create ideas for all your talents, not just Roman Reigns.
I mean, when it came to the Attitude Era, nothing was done in halves. Like, barely anything was done in halves, except for a snippet few. And like, since the Attitude Era has ended, they've just turned lazy.
Well, what happened in the Attitude Era is, in WWE's case, is their head writer was a guy called Vince Russo.
Yeah.
And Vince Russo is one of the main primary reasons WCW went out of business.
But he wrote good stuff.
No, he didn't. He wrote good stuff when he was in WWE because he had a filter called Vince McMahon. Because if he went too far, Vince would shoot his shit down. When he was in WCW, he had full reign to do what he liked, and that ended very badly. But he was the main reason WWE during the Attitude Era, getting back to that point, why they had it's because he wrote stuff for everyone. And the thing is, not every feud or every storyline needs to be a grand epic masterpiece. Just give them something. It's not hard, is it? A little something. You know, I'm pretty sure Ron Killings would appreciate something other than chasing the 24/7 title. And let's see. I'm sure Asuka would actually like an actual feud.
Put Ron Killings in a tag team with his childhood hero, John Cena, and give him a title reign. That isn't a world championship. I'd love that.
That should be quite interesting, to be fair. Because you
imagine Ron Killing turning heel and joining forces with John Cena, and he actually makes sense for a change.
Well, here's one. You imagine he's tags with Cena, but Cena comes back as Little Jimmy.
Wow.
Now, if you get the reference, Ron Killings, when he was healed, there was a character Little Jimmy. Now, Cena dresses as Little Jimmy, you can't see Cena, and most of them can't see Little Jimmy.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
he had Little Jimmy back when he was in the Awesome Truth, didn't he?
there you go.
And that's one of the reasons why the Awesome Truth actually broke up, because Miz apparently kicked Little Jimmy,
Something like that, yeah.
even though nobody could see Little Jimmy. Miz kicked him, managed to kick him, and kick. And shortly afterwards, Ron Killings kicked him to the curb. So,
There was that and the fact he got suspended for taking drugs, but hey,
yeah.
It's the little things.
Speaking of little things,
Wow.
Bruce.
You sound like Stephanie McMahon when she doesn't get what she wants.
I just can't with this dog. If he falls off the sofa, I'm going to laugh. I'm against animal cruelty, but please fall.
It's not cruelty if it's fun.
It's not cruelty if it's self-inflicted.
That as well.
Does it help if I shake the sofa a bit?
Well, technically, yeah, and also because you're not directly touching him, it's his fault if he can't balance.
This is a recliner, so if I just pull the recliner here, go.
It'd be like one of those anime cartoons.
Hang on, let me see.
Or we reacted to that.
I'm sorry. Oh shit! They didn't do nothing.
No, it was the chair.
You didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything. The chair moved. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, it wasn't me. It's Dave Meltzer's favourite words. It wasn't me.
It's never Dave Meltzer. He's never booked anything a day in his life.
Can you not? Yeah, I'm not doing another one of these podcasts down here with you. You're bloody annoying.
Yeah.
And you, Bruce.
Are you only going to give him 5 stars, yeah? You would have given him 7 if he'd been in the Tokyo Dome.
God, it just ended up being with Craig Greville Hallwood shouting 7 at the top of his lungs. I feel sorry for the nursing home that takes in Craig Greville Hallwood, because all he's going to say is horrible, darling, horrible. Well, if you say, could you imagine Len Goodman in a retirement home? You're just shouting 7 randomly.
I think for the international viewers, we should probably explain this is strictly Come Dancing judges.
Yeah.
Or for you Americans, you'll understand Dancing with the Stars. Same show, but different name.
Yeah.
So
Len Goodman's an old guy that's favourite number is 7 because he's always scoring 7s.
Either that or he doesn't know any other number other than 7.
Always a possibility.
Or he's watched the Brad Pitt film one too many times.
Yeah. Or he's just constantly reminding people how many minutes you have to leave a pot noodle for it to finally become cold.
Or is he talking about how long in minutes Aleister Black's push was on the main roster?
Well, like how long Vince McMahon's attention span can last for actual talent.
In seconds.
Or how long Roman Reigns' first push felt like it lasted in years.
I thought he was going to say in decades.
Try millennia. I swear I got my first grey hair in the first fucking push.
The thing is, when that push first started, I'm sure Methuselah had some weird stuff to say about that.
Oh, I could probably. I've got no doubt about it.
It's probably
He
in the
always has
Bible.
some weird stuff to say about something, doesn't he?
It's probably in the Bible somewhere. And on the 5,000th year, Roman reign still wasn't over.
It still wasn't forced down our throats from which they wanted.
And he has to come from the place of the devil, Hartford,
Even
Connecticut.
even thy rock got booed, and so if so.
And thus he struck down in all his righteous anger with the eyebrow.
The people's elbow could not woo them enough.
And the eyebrow did not raise their spirits, it only emphasized their anger.
Let's bring in his best family member, the most well-known family member, the most well-liked family member. That will push him over. Boo! Oh, well, maybe not.
Yeah, oh crap.
Okay, maybe we should stop trying. Are you kidding? We're only a year in. We can't give up yet. 5 years later. He's still not over. Should we quit now?
No, we've still got 75,000 family members we can use. And only 700 of them are Usos.
I'll give it credit. Now that he's finally over, he's over as a heel, and I'm just like, if they try and turn him face, you know that it's not gonna work. He's just gonna be heel for the rest of his TV career now.
No,
There's no way he's gonna be face.
there's two things. That him being a heel should have happened a long time ago. But there is a way to turn him face where people will be okay with it. But you can't do it now. You're going to have to do it at least 2 years from now. But there is a way to do it.
There is, yeah.
And it goes kind of like this. Main event of WrestleMania. Big pompous ass Roman Reigns. I am big, nobody can beat me. Gets in the ring, faces The Rock. The Rock beats his ass. He becomes all humbled and, I did not understand the power of the people. And basically he understands that the fans really are important and shit. But basically you emphasize how much of a fighter he is and his courage and shit like that. And people love him. They'll suck his cock.
Right, okay. So I want you to save the last 30 seconds of what you just said, and then 2 years later, if we're still doing this podcast, you have to play that back the night after WrestleMania, and we will talk about "We Told You So."
Yeah, let people love his cock.
we just have this SpongeBob thing that says "eventually," and then we'll be like, "We told you."
Oh, you get the thing come up. See, he was right.
Mm-hmm.
1 eternity later.
If I'm still here, you're still here, and the pandemic's over, and everything's all sunny side up, or we're still in pandemic, living underground, but doing this podcast somehow.
Do you know the funny part about that? The thing least likely to happen in that entire period is that the pandemic is over. Everything else there's a chance to happen.
Yeah,
The pandemic will still happen.
Facebook will be face library. The Instagram will be Instakilogram instead, because it will just get that heavy.
It'll be 5 eternities later.
Yeah. We're all a fucking personal robot slaves and all that stuff or something.
Yeah. But the main point being, I do think there is a way to eventually turn him face. But
yeah, undoubtedly. And that's probably why WrestleMania Hollywood is happening.
Oh, that's exactly why. But you do have to do it in a very particular way, otherwise people will reject it and you're back to square one.
Yeah, people will just call bullshit on the whole storyline, and the whole 2 years will have been for nothing.
Yeah,
I don't
basically.
think I can handle Roman Reigns being Universal Champion for 2 years. It would just turn so stale. They'd have to be so dedicated to that storyline, and I could see WWE falling in the ratings before that happens.
It's all right. I told you, he's got 75,000 USO relatives he can still fight. It's fine.
It's funny because it's true.
I know.
He'd be on his 4th set of twins by then.
That's the thing. The Owenite dynasty, they always seem to have children in twins. So by that time, there probably will be more. I think you'll want to, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to ask how much longer do you reckon we'll be?
I think we're just about ready to wrap up now anyway.
Yeah, I think if we talk anymore, we'll be at it for another hour, and then we'll be lacking content in the future.
So you need to go and do stuff as well, and obviously you're being up late, so you don't want to tire too much.
Right.
I'm still planning on having a bath before.
Yeah, and we've still done quite a bit anyway, so trust me. Do you know how long we've been going, by the way?
3 hours.
It's
2 hours, 56
minutes and 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah. I think we're good at this point, so. And
yeah, I think if we talk anymore, people will just want us to shut up, so.
yeah, so viewers, if you made to this point, well done. You get a special prize.
Yeah,
If you post in the comment, if you post in the comment with the last word that says on this podcast, put it in there, put your name in there, right? I will personally give you a nice little shout out. And basically, if you're local to the London area, at some point when we can actually do stuff, I will buy you coffee, as in an actual cup of coffee. Because, it means you got to the very end of this. Well done.
Yeah, the first podcast. If you made it to the end, you get to meet Peter Bird. Good luck to you.
Yeah, it depends whether you want to or not. That's the key to that one.
Yeah, this is when you find out that the last person in the chat is like from America, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I want to meet you. Pay for my ticket to come over to the UK."
That's what I said. That has to be local to London.
Yeah, this is when Steph comments, "I'll take the coffee."
Yeah, but Steph gets the coffee anyway. There's nothing new there. So, anyway, we will scoot on that. Aaron is going to watch the Elimination Chamber tonight. So, obviously, next time we speak to Aaron, we'll ask him all about that.
Yeah.
And all the other fun stuff that's going on. Obviously, Aaron does all the Caring with Colour stuff, which obviously you guys already know about from the Salty stuff. So,
yep,
that'll be fun. Obviously, I will see you again Wednesday because obviously, quiz.
Yeah. We'll see you for the Salty Stuff podcast on Wednesday.
Exactly. So it's almost like you wouldn't have seen me at all since the previous.
Oh no! Yeah, it's been a whole 3 days without seeing you.
Do you know what's really funny? And I just realised this. We did the one for all the other wrestling shows earlier, and it was like an hour and 20 minutes. We've done the WWE one, and it's nearly 3 hours. So yeah, just like a WWE pay-per-view, it's twice as long.
Yeah. I can only imagine what next week's podcast is going to be like. Heaven help us.
Well, we'll have the Elimination Chamber results to talk about, plus all the implications of them.
Oh, yeah. And we might find out whether or not Edge has chosen his opponent for WrestleMania as well. There's always that too.
I think it's Beth Phoenix.
I swear, if they bring her to commentate on WrestleMania just because Edge is the main event, I will laugh. I can see it happening, but I will laugh.
I think Roman will spear her.
Well, I mean, she's taken an RKO. She's one tough bird.
Well, that's what I mean. Roman spears are actually very safe.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you go then. And
yeah, you're gonna have to go and have a bath, sort yourself out, get yourself ready for the Elimination Chamber. I'm going to go and have a coffee and think about more stuff too. I've got a sports podcast I'm doing tomorrow evening, so I'm going to be talking about all the weekend sport and stuff and voice my opinion on a whole bunch of sports stuff, which most people are going to like those opinions because I have my very own and they're going to be very colourful and my opinions
extremely colourful.
If anyone wants to argue with them, that's what the chats are for.
Yeah, the good thing about Caring with Colours as well is you've always got to be prepared for colourful language.
Exactly. So, but unfortunately, you guys will be dealing only with me because Aaron will be busy covering from being up all night watching Elimination Chamber. There's only so much
Yep.
Aaron can do, as well as doing stuff for charity. Because I think he gets a pass on that one because charity.
I do my stuff 7 days a week, so especially currently with the Forfeit Challenge.
Yeah, you notice how he did not mention at all any color.
Nope, but I've been practicing.
Yeah, it's also the fact I didn't either, which just goes to show.
I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it now because that would be mean. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I'm sure you'll get it out of your system on Wednesday. Or
Yeah,
Steph will.
or whoever else may be on there. So.
Yeah, that too.
Right, so obviously we're going to let you all go. I will see you guys. Well, if you guys want to stop by tomorrow evening for the We Talk Sport podcast, which is 6 o'clock, so I'll see you guys then. Or 6 or 8. I haven't quite decided which. I think it's probably 6.
Yep.
Because I don't think it's going to be better than that. There's no podcast Tuesday because I am busy Tuesday. Wednesday, I'm doing 2 shows, actually. Now I remember. There is the Chill Time second episode, which will take place earlier in the day. And then there's Sorting Stuff, where you will see Aaron return along with a few other people too.
But for now, I'm going to say bye because I have to go help
Yes.
my mum. And, well, thank you, Peter, for including me on this podcast. And I'll see you on Wednesday and probably next week for the Elimination Chamber review.
Cool. Also, we will not have them be this long in the future because this was the first off. That's
Yeah.
why it's longer. So the rest of them are going to be shorter simply because I don't want them being this long every single time.
Yeah, this was just taking a feel into consideration, testing the ground.
Yeah, this is the bumper edition so people get an idea of what they're dealing with. So obviously, anyone wants to do anything with Aaron's charity stuff, Karen McCullers.
Yep.
Also, links will be in the description. Anyway, I'm gonna take us off the broadcast. So we're saying bye to all the people, and we'll see you soon.
TTFN?